Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Vox Jed Fight About It. And today we've got a very special episode. We didn't do this on episode 30 like we wanted to because it didn't line up quite right, but it's 31, so we're doing a special episode today. And Vox, what's our special episode for today?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Jed. I'm glad you asked, because today is a special episode where we're going to be visited by three spirits who are a week late. Again, that was the hang-up. It wasn't the guest episode. It's, do you know how hard it is to get three spirits scheduled to be like in the same place around the same time? It's a bitch.
It's hard enough to schedule one Willow person, let alone three spirits.
I had my each of my hands on a separate planchette for a Ouija board, and then I had my foot up on a third one so that I could contact them all. It was like a spirit conference call, and it sucked. I was missing letters all over the place. Because I was looking at one when the other one was moving, and it's like, well, playing hangman with them practically. It was just a mess.
Why didn't you use a spirit box? Listen to all of them at the same time.
Well, then they all have to funnel through one channel, and it's like you get rumbled sentences. You ever have three people speak to you in unison all at the same time, saying different shit? It's hard to comprehend, man. I just figured this was the best option to get them all on separate channels enough that I could figure it out. Didn't really work out, though. But we got them. We got them. There's a little miscommunication, but we got them. They're all here a week late. The spirits of past, present, and future, embodying us a little bit, in a way. The two of us Scrooges, embodying us we're at various points throughout the show. We will be implored. We'll say we're being implored. That makes it sound like the ghosts have us at gunpoint to talk about time. We're being urged very, very urgently to talk about the past, aka this year, the present, right now in this weird little gap of time between Christmas and New Year's, this void nothing zone, and then the future being 2025 and perhaps a little bit of beyond. And hopefully neither of our futures involve staring at our own graves and asking to sponge out. Hopefully not.
Asking to sponge out?
Yeah, okay, all right.
What?
I have to clarify it, because I don't even think Jed
you gotta reference this. I do remember this.
We were watching Muppet Christmas Carol. Muppet Christmas Carol, which is a very straight adaptation that uses a lot of lines directly from Charles Dickens' original work. And one of those lines was, "Spirit, please allow me to sponge out my name from the stone," as in in the same way that you would use a sponge to expunge something, the phrasing of "Spirit, please let me sponge out" was just too much. It was just too fucking much.
Well, we were laughing because
it's he's a huge SpongeBob fan,
yeah, and he's gonna sponge out. He puts on his SpongeBob outfit, dude.
Yeah,
great.
He's gonna start spouting facts to you about fucking Patchy the Pirate or some shit. But away from Patchy the Pirate, away
from Patchy.
We need to talk about the past, where he is also, I guess. But specifically, we need to talk about things that happened this year is the category on Jeopardy tonight, because we're switching things to Jeopardy now for some reason. That's Family Feud.
Oh, fuck. Wait, we've switched again.
That's fucking Family Feud. Now we're doing a Family Feud bit. Name something that happened this year.
Top 10 answers on the Wonka Experience, Bucks.
The Wonka Experience. It's up there. Let's talk about it. God, that was crazy. I had somebody mention to me.
That was so silly.
I had somebody mention to me the Wonka Experience just earlier today. Or the other day, actually. Not today at all. What am I thinking? But they mentioned it to me. They mentioned it to me a few days ago. And we're like, oh man, that was a crazy part of the year, wasn't it? And I was like, what do you mean part of the year? And they were like, no, it was this year. It was in February, and I had to reconcile with that for a minute. That Jesus Christ, February feels like a world away. February 2024 feels like it was forever ago, dude. I don't know, but we've had a very busy back half of the year, so that explains that. We'll get to that later. But The Wonka experience.
The Wonka experience.
There's so much shit to talk about here.
For those of you that don't remember it, it was a thing in Glasgow that was like, oh yeah, we're remaking Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and you're gonna be able to go through it, and it's gonna be a whole experience, and it's gonna be amazing. And they used like AI imagery to push it.
I got a problem with this concept from minute one, by the way.
Yeah,
I have to say. We'll get into it after you finish, but we'll get into it after you finish. I want to let you finish explaining what it was, like the facts of the matter. What happened after?
So,
how was it executed?
Once everybody bought tickets, and I think they were expensive tickets at the time, they show up to this like warehouse in Glasgow, and it's got like shitty like rainbow and lollipop like Spirit Halloween props, and it turns out they had like a storyline going, but that story was written by AI. So like it's like, yes, welcome to Willy Wonka, and he's here with his greatest enemy. I think it was called like it's called
Unknown.
The
And it's like a woman in like black rags,
a chrome mask,
flowy like cloak-esque outfit, and like a chrome like silver spray painted very obviously like Halloween mask, and they're like creeping around behind mirrors, and the Willy Wonka actor's just going, look, it's the unknown, and all the children are like, no, in that way that like kids do, and they're like, when you're like, you ever like spend time with kids and like play pretend with kids, and like you take it in a direction they don't particularly like you're doing an improv bit with some shithead kid who doesn't understand improv even a little bit, and it's just like, I don't like that, and it's like, okay, well we can try something else.
Yes and motherfucker.
Like, yes and you have to yes and Jimmy, and it's like, you know, but I don't even want to be a postal worker, you know. It's a whole thing. But they said that with that sort of a tone, it was crazy, but completely AI written, and you've basically heard all there is to hear about it.
Yeah, I think that's all there is.
Really, it mostly just that like the internet got footage of it, and this was when AI. God, it's crazy how far AI has come, and I say that in the most depressing way possible. It's crazy how far AI has come, in the past year. Not that it's really gotten any better, but just like its cultural standpoint, really.
It actually has gotten better. Now that I'm looking at some of these promotional images from the Wonka experience, it's definitely better.
It's definitely,
which is unfortunate.
I don't know. I think if they tried to do the Wonka experience February next year, it would look the same. I think it would look and feel the exact same. I think there would be, I mean, I think the like photos they attached might be higher resolution and have less AI artifacting in them, but I think they would be of the same quality, if that makes any sense. It's like,
probably.
It's like you've made a machine to print gold, and all it did initially was print perfect replications of bullshit, like actual bull feces.
Yeah.
And then like a year later, they're like, how's that gold printing machine coming? And you go, it's better than it was. It prints more high fidelity bullshit.
Well, no, it prints actual bullshit in the shape of gold bars. So, you know,
like
there's that.
Like, yeah, that's a better estimation, because it's like it superficially resembles the thing you would want.
Yeah.
But like anybody with a nose or eyes or any working senses really would be able to tell you this is the cheapest imitation possible. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But the thing about it, it's crazy how far AI has come, because like, I don't know, it feels like people like at the time were like very like just starting to get on the like, wait a minute. Like artists on Twitter had been talking about like preaching the like anti-AI sentiment for a while, and talking about how like in professional settings it's going to steal people's jobs, it's going to like ruin lives, it's going to ruin art as a whole. And at the time, I held a very optimistic opinion that, like, that would never happen. I think, in the end, humanity will prevail, and we'll realize that once companies actually start producing, like, AI-produced movies and TV shows and, like, pieces of media and, like, pieces of IP out of just AI, I think people will very quickly come to realize, like, oh, this is shit. This is horseshit.
Yeah, this is the actual slop.
This is just garbage that's being literally pumped out of a machine for me to keep consuming, you know? And I think it largely has gone that way, based on like things like Mufasa the Lion King, which is a very recent thing. Just the most recent example of
I wasn't aware of that.
Like hella overproduced. Apparently they used AI for like some backgrounds or some promo shots, something. But like, I think people are just becoming like more and more like I think people are just like leaning in the direction that maybe not for soulful reasons as much as just like they'll see a movie, they'll see like an ad, like that Coca-Cola ad that was made by AI, where it's just like, I don't know, typically if you can't even hire somebody to advertise your product, but you still feel the need to advertise, maybe it's like, maybe that like is a sign of a shittier product. Like that's where a lot of people are going, is like correlating the fact that like AI produces a shittier product all round typically. Like I'm glad that association is coming, but I mean by how far it's come in that like people laugh. Like everybody pretty much across the board laughed at this Wonka experience thing.
Oh yeah.
As like a big lampoon of just like, there is zero shot anything AI related. Like no entertainment company's looking at this and going, that's the future, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Everybody unanimously laughed at the idea of that pretty much across the board of like, if it's gonna produce things of this caliber, there's no way it's any good. And then companies actually started using AI pretty regularly for things. Yeah, no, they fell through for the bit. And who would think companies like Sony, the people we tricked into putting Morbius back into theaters a second time, and then nobody saw it the second time either, and they nearly did it a third time. I remember
I didn't know about that.
Shit about how Sony was considering wrapping around a third time based on people online going, oh shit, I didn't get to see it, you know? And like they were trying to pull the trick twice and almost got it. Who knew that like the corporate executives of the world who could be tricked into doing something like that big of a fuck up, would also be stupid enough to like lean heavy on the AI thing? Who would have known?
Who would have
like
fucking
a growth
guessed?
Point for the world as a whole. Like definitely not a good one, but a development in that realm.
It definitely is a development
in the past year. But no, the unknown, apparently the lady who was in that costume is actually doing quite well for herself, playing that character at like, children's parties and like actually
holy shit, they're the unknown.
Like they've doing that for like events as a side gig, but apparently their main gig now is theater, from what I heard. Don't like take that with a pinch of salt. I haven't heard much of anything, but they were a theater student when they were doing that, and they've since like graduated and gotten like real actual jobs doing non-AI scripts, which is great.
That's good.
That's fantastic. But I think that was a real like blowout at the beginning of the year. I think that was like what memes were for a good month there.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, the unknown has a villains fanon wiki. Yeah, as an evildoer.
I probably have a villains fanon wiki somewhere. Some maniacal bastard out there, they should be on the villains wiki, really, has probably fucking put me on a villains wiki page somewhere. I swear, every character ever has one. It's ridiculous. But no, you got any other thoughts about the
Wonka experience? You said it was a bad premise to start out, but was that just about AI?
No, it was a bad premise to start out, right? Not even with the AI. Scrap the AI from the whole thing. A small company with no history of doing things like this is just gonna rent a warehouse, set it all up, decorate it like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and we're gonna do it. And it's just like, okay, maybe it's just a blind spot for culture. Maybe that's why. But every time I see footage of like a theme park attraction or like a meet and greet with any sort of fictional character that is able to talk with you, not like a Mickey Mouse type, but like think like, you know, people in costumes at Disney World with their faces out, like having a conversation with you. If you walked up to Snow White, like a character that is like only depicted pretty much having that weird sort of posh-esque transatlantic accent, or maybe a slight British to them, and you got somebody who is born and raised in Glasgow to play that character, like play it straight, no accent change, no nothing. How are you not taken out of that? And I apply that to like the Willy Wonka characters. Could you imagine as a child running over there expecting Gene Wilder or maybe like Johnny Depp-esque character, depending on which one. And what you end up with is this like this very clearly Scottish man doing like a shitty Willy Wonka impression. And like it doesn't matter to me, for some reason, it doesn't matter how good the costume is. It just like it always ends up sucking so bad when the voice comes out, and it's just like there are times where it's been fine. There are times where it's been fine. When a piece of media is like adapted or something, I can usually get behind just like, okay, this guy has a different accent, or like that character is of a different nationality than they were in the original. That doesn't really bother me at all. But like these like party performers who like dress up as characters for kids' birthdays, and it's just like, I'm sorry, like
I don't get the appeal.
Spider-Man shows up to your birthday when you're 9, and you're like, holy shit, it's Spider-Man! And he opens his mouth and goes, good to meet you, laddie. And how are you not taken out by that? How are you not at least a little bit taken aback and going,
it's me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Fucking Spider-Man. I can't do Scottish. I can't do Scottish.
That just sounded like a broad European accent.
Like Eastern European Spider-Man is better, I think, because that's a more garish accent also. Like, to hear these characters have, and it's just like, and nothing against like Scottish people or Eastern European people.
Yeah,
there are plenty of characters. There are plenty of characters of those descents that like you could portray just fine, I'm sure. And I'm sure you're like performing your heart out at these children's birthday parties or the Wonka Glasgow event. But like,
yeah,
come on. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, as an adult, I can get past it, of course. But if I were, like, a 7-year-old being taken to this, I would have, like a fucking, like, sorry, it's Christmas time, so pardon the reference. I would have, like, a fucking Will Ferrell elf moment where it's like, that guy's not Willy Wonka. This is bullshit.
That motherfucker is
There's a load of horse shit. I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Last I checked, it wasn't just a warehouse. This very clearly was like a UPS shipping center 3 days ago, and now it's fucking a chocolate factory? Sure. Whatever.
Let alone, like, if you see the photos from it, it is genuinely, like, they didn't even try to make it,
they didn't
like...
even try to cover up the fact that this is, like, a storage warehouse they've rented for, like, the afternoon.
It just looked like it stored, like, candy props. Like, it looked like it was just a regular warehouse that was just, like, storing candy props. It didn't even look like...
I feel like if I paid tickets and showed up to this thing, I would go, either I'm here really early, or they gave me, like, on the thing, they gave me the address to the place where they keep all the extra props for this thing. That's what I would immediately be thinking based on the pictures that I saw. You know, the non-AI ones,
sure,
at least.
Yeah.
The AI ones were like, dude, maybe if you, like, dropped acid a little bit before you went, that would be what you saw, but nobody's doing that. Or nobody should be doing that.
Although one of the good things we got out of it was that photo of that woman who was like a fucking
the
Oompa Loompa
lady.
And she's so just wildly like, I don't fucking give a shit about this.
Like,
dude.
she's so dead, and people started calling her like a mother figure or something at one point. Did you see that? Like, that
she's
was a big thing
doing
about
her own thing now too, I think.
Yeah, she's doing her own thing now too. I think she got like a social media career jumpstart sort of thing, like the Unknown.
Yeah.
Like the Unknown did, where it's like everybody knows that you did that, and like usually that would be a bad thing, but your part in this was endearing because you were like a student doing a small time thing, you know?
Wait a minute. They remade it in LA. They were like,
oh,
we want to do this in LA.
And then nobody went to it.
What the fuck?
Like, people went, I'm sure, but like nobody actually bothered to check it out because everybody's like, yeah, we've seen this bit before. It's like the fucking I've seen this one. It's fine. We're good.
We've been talking about this fucking Willy Wonka experience for like 15 minutes. I'm realizing
it's the first thing of the episode. I mentioned to Jed before we started that like this is gonna be a packed episode because we're covering literally all the year's events, and then we're doing this and that and the other. We got a bunch of regular topics lined up, and just it's gonna be a whole episode, folks. So buckle in for some topics.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that like it genuinely like
that was.
It was like the one notable thing from like pre-June this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like the first few months of the year, at least from my perspective, were very like, did the new year happen? I'm not sure. I felt very limboed at the time. But you want to move on then? Is that what that like we've spent 15 fucking minutes talking about this was for?
I'm sorry, I just had this moment where I was like, I've got 15 things on my topics list, and I know you've got 15 things too. So it's like, oh god. All right.
Oh man.
What do you got?
You want
anything close to that point in the year?
You want to talk more end of year news?
Yeah, we can do it.
Are we allowed to pull from the freebies list right now? Because I have some shit on the freebies list.
Go for it. We have a list that we shared that are too big for either of us to have on our own individual list.
Yeah, like items that both of us knew we were gonna have on our list, and so we didn't. We right after right after the Willy Wonka experience, I say right after a couple months of nothing, by the way. Just this year gave us nothing in that time. And the real Kickstarter of the back half of the year like went off like a fucking starting pistol immediately. We did Console Craft together. It was your first time actually doing content.
For like for a big SMP, because I was doing
like
Raft with you for like a month before.
Yeah, no, but like you had started doing content primarily with that. Do you want to talk about? You want to talk about getting into content stuff and your experience with that across the year, and also starting with Console Craft, preferably.
Yeah, I mean, again, I started streaming because Vox was like, "Oh, we're gonna play this survival game anyway, Raft. So you may as well stream it on your end too, and we'll both have a perspective. Because you're gonna be sitting here doing the stream pretty much. You just have to press the starting button." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll try it," and that's how it got started. And I
think that's pretty sound logic on my part of just like you were going to be talking with me, and thus by extension talking with chat. You know, and then you're also you already had a PNG for another project we were thinking about doing. Oh, no, not even, like, just to appear on the stream, you had a PNG made to appear on the stream beside mine, which is the same one you're using now.
No, it was a different one, slightly.
You know, a similar one. Anyway, but you had one made up, so you already had, like, the one custom asset you would really need to get started, and it's, like, short of like setting up OBS scenes, which I think I even like told you I would coach you through, and I kind of like tried to.
Yeah, but, you kind of did.
You know, like I helped you with those a little bit. But it was
like mostly taking assets from your stream and putting them on my stream.
Yeah, short of like doing the OBS layouts. If you did the OBS layouts and just streamed the game, literally all you'd have to do is come up with a title and hit start streaming. Other than that, there would be no extra work on you really to just stream the game with me. And I will admit, it was sort of a gateway drug opportunity to like, okay, if I can, Jed has expressed that he likes doing this thing with me, I just can't get him to do it on a schedule. I know if we schedule these Raft streams every week, then he'll show up on Wednesdays and do them with me, you know? And maybe over the course of a game of Raft, a game that he's expressed that he really, really likes anyway as a survival game, and has been itching to play recently again with me, maybe over the course of this Raft playthrough, I can actually get him to, like, find some joy in doing this thing with me other than that he's just doing it with me, you know? And then I can, like, maybe enough to the point where I could rope him into other projects, you know, like Willow and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, or whatever SMP I ended up in. Because, like, I wasn't super tied down to Willow at the time, because Season 2 was kind of collapsing in on itself, and nobody really knew what was next other than Console Craft. And so, like, we didn't know there was gonna be a Season 3 that quick, or if it could be done. So, like, it was very much like a up in the air if there will be a Willow SMP to be in, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I did a pretty successful job of that. What do you think? You think you're still at the same place,
I think so.
streaming-wise, as you were before you started Raft?
Give or take. I would say not much.
I guess I did a shit job then.
Well, no, you did a good job. You did a good job getting me
blundered it in that case. That's totally not what I wanted to achieve.
Well, I just like, it's not that I don't like streaming. I like streaming because I like hanging out with people, and I've gotten the opportunity to hang out with more people by streaming. Like, I haven't really had a huge drive to do solo streams, but I love making content. I just like making content with you. I'm not a very interesting person on my own.
Easy. Making content with other people is not very easy, but it's easier. There is
easier,
like
and it's
separation.
way more enjoyable.
Talking to yourself, you have somebody to bounce off of consistently. And that's great. I think we work great as a duo in that time. I think we worked great as a duo in private before, but I think we've very publicly like grown as a duo. I was just thinking about this earlier today, actually, because I was like, what of the day where, like, if for some reason Jed decides he doesn't want to do this no more, and we end up in like a Smosh situation, like where like one of us is like, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I think I'll give this one more year. I think I'll give this content thing like next year, not give it one more year as in I'm gonna quit if I don't hit it big next year. But like, as in, like, this will always be a part of my life. Next year is my big chance to really lean full tilt into it and evolve upon it, you know? And really like leave my mark on the space. And then after that, I'll keep doing that forever, basically. I'm happy to do that like ad nauseum for like the rest of my life. And I was just like, I don't know, this isn't really like, because I was like, yeah, me and Jed will be fucking streaming Willow when we're 80. And I thought about it and I was like, this isn't Jed's stream, this is mine, you know? And so it's like, maybe there will come a day when we're like 30 or something, and Jed is just like, hey, dude, I gotta level with you. I'm starting to wane on this, you know? And then you'll leave and it'll just be me. And then everybody will go like, oh shit, it's one of the two guys. Where's the other guy? And it's like, the guy's not here. You know how it is. You know how those kinds of like duos end up.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're already getting there to a degree of just.
What, are you already getting fucking sick of doing this shit? Is that what you're saying?
No. Just like,
we're already
one of us
there.
shows.
I'm real fucking tired of you.
I'm getting sick of this shit. No, like, we're already getting there, as in, whenever we show up, one of us, it'll always be like, oh yeah, what has Vox been up to, or where is Vox currently?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, is like, we end up cementing ourselves, because everybody asks me that too when I'm around like Willow folks, or even people I don't even know at all. Like, I'm getting the internet equivalent of that thing where people will like shout out the window at like famous people, like lines from things that they do, or just like, oh, fucking like, hey, where's the other guy? And it's like, that was a movie, but this is my real life, and so it's a lot less like, troubling for me. It's like, you know, where like I and I'm not saying I'm like famous where people are recognizing me on the street. I mean, I'm getting like the internet micro celebrity equivalent of that, where like people know me for a specific thing now, and that specific thing is that we are friends and that we work really well as a duo. And so I think we're really building ourselves as a duo act at this point, which is pretty good. And I'm down with that.
Honestly, yeah, you know, like that was our start with Console Craft, and eventually I got into Willow, and we've talked about that ad nauseum, but that was just a really big part of the year for both of us. But I think the best part that came out of the year around that time, because literally I think the same week that Console Craft started, we started this podcast.
I think so. Yeah. I think
no,
it was the
first episode.
We definitely talked about it in episode 1. But I don't know if we talked about week 1 in episode 1.
The first episode released on the same day that we had started Console Craft. It was the opening day, and the episode was coming out. So it was really exciting.
Console Craft by like a few days. Then.
Yeah, by like 2 days. Yeah.
Technically, by 1 day. Time anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's fucking crazy. I don't know, but. Flipping that coin the other way about the thing I was saying real quick, just to cap that topic off, there is, I considered the other possibility, which is a lot less troubling to me, of like, what if Jed is also just cool with doing this forever? Like, what if like we're both just like, because as far as like content goes and the things that I produce, I'm pretty content about content. I'm fairly content about content. Yeah. Where like,
yeah, sure.
I don't know, I'm happy with what I make, and I make it pretty regularly, and I've got a small audience. Granted, small is the operative word there, but a small audience of people willing to watch me do just about whatever I'm doing, like content-wise, when it comes to like, oh, I made a TikTok, or I made a YouTube video, or I'm doing a Twitch stream tonight. Like, it doesn't matter. There are the same like 3-4 people who are like ride or die will show up for all of that. Granted, one of those is my husband, and sometimes one of those is Jed. I don't even consider you part of that like ride or die viewer list, just because you pop into streams for like 5 seconds to go, hey, how's the game going? And then don't stick around long enough for me to answer
and
that
then
question.
I leave.
And you dip. And then I like look over at chat, and I'm not even looking at chat late. I saw that you said it. I was waiting for a break in the conversation, or like in the like thing I was saying, to go like, how's the game going? Pretty good, Jed. And then I don't hear anything back. And then, like, you don't put anything back in the chat to, like, let me know you're still here, so I assume you're either lurking or walked away, because that is a thing you do. You fucking, like, you just, exit scene as soon as possible sometimes.
Funny thing is, 9 times out of 10, if I pop in and say, hey, how's that how's this going? I'm on mobile, I text it, and then I go back to what I was doing, whether it be driving. Sometimes I'll do it while I'm driving just to check in.
It's good if the chat is dead, because it gives me an opportunity to like, oh yeah, no, genuinely, this is pretty good. Like, this game is pretty good, or this game is pretty bad, whatever happens to be. I don't think I've ever called a game bad on stream. I don't think I've, like, gone out of my way to go, like, this is a real piece of shit I'm playing here. Because I play a lot of indie games on stream, and I'd feel really bad if the developer of a game had ever looked at my footage of the game and went, he thinks my game's a piece of shit? Fuck this guy.
Oh, God.
When? What did we say that about? We said that in, like, moments of
now
fury.
I'm remembering...
We said that in, like, moments of fury during games before, like, Chained Together and fucking We Were Here. But I don't think we meant it.
We were calling it a piece of shit. Because this was, like, Chained Together prior was, like,
it's
AI
a Unity
slop.
asset flip game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it kind of was, like... And it's like, there's something that comes with the territory of making a Unity asset flip game, where it's like, I don't look at Chained Together for even a second and think that the devs don't know what they've made here. You know?
Yeah.
They made, like, a rage bait game that's pretty damn good, actually. It's a pretty fun time. But it's like, it's definitely a very simple rage bait game. Yeah?
But, like, one of the very notable singular days was a day during Console Craft. Yeah.
Do you mean pre-recording today? Oh, you mean the pre this recording? I thought we were talking about
pre this recording. We were talking,
the chained recording.
No.
Chained Together stream. Ugh, if I can talk today.
Okay,
but no, you're talking about things we said right before we started.
That day, what we had done was overnight, we were told that we had to do a thing for Console Craft. If you watched it, it was the Zero Vault that we put around the sign. That was put onto me because Vox had to go to bed to go get groceries the next day. And I was like, okay, I'll take care of it. This should take me 2 hours tonight and I'll wake up and we'll do it. That's not what happened. I instead had to spend like the whole night building this thing in creative with like, I was talking to some of the mods at the time, so I wasn't like alone while Vox was sleeping, but I was doing that. And then I was exhausted.
Right.
And then we did a round of Console Craft. And I was like, all right, I've already hit the point where I'm exhausted. And the event that happened kind of ended in kind of a wonky way. And then we immediately, right after, I didn't even stop my stream, went straight into Chained Together. And so we were already in kind of like a piss poor mood because you had like a hard day with grocery shopping and you had to get up early. And then then we did Chained Together.
Like a housewife. You made me sound like a housewife, like a coal miner who like breathes in fucking asbestos and coal fumes every day. And he's like, there was a collapse at the mines today, wife, and I had to drag half a man who had been crushed, like whose legs had been crushed under a boulder in the cave-in, and we barely managed to see the light as I crawled to it. And he's coughing and wheezing blood all over me. And it was almost like I was back in the war for a moment. And I'm sure you had a particularly tough time grocery shopping today.
Yeah. Well, no, like it was, because you had to get up early and like, that was a pain in the ass for you.
That always like sets me in a bad mood. A not full night's sleep will always piss me off. There's like, it's a pretty long list. I've realized that as a person, I'm not going to go super far into this because it's way off topic, but I've realized that as a person, my natural default state is kind of disgruntled with things and unsatisfied. Yeah. And so, like, if I don't remind myself every now and again that, like, no, this is fun. You're having fun. I sit there and if I don't remind myself of that, I'll end up like in like a grumble by the end of whatever I'm doing where it's like, no, this is fun, I guess, but fucking goddamn it. You know, I'll get so like caught up in like the minutia and like the most annoying, like littlest thing in the world. Like, yeah, fucking great, good time. I got a fucking pebble in my sock though. You know?
But like Console Craft, that event was very mediocre, and then not for any reason of the admins. It was just for us.
Oh, dude, like, it's the admins. It's the admins' fault a little bit. That Zero Vault thing.
Yeah, Zero Vault thing.
I don't want to trash anybody. I'm sure this was the point. I'm sure that they didn't haphazard this shit together. I'm sure they considered it. But me and Jed had worked out that like this is what a Zero Vault is. It can contain quite literally anything in the fiction of this.
Yeah.
Like it is away from all forces, including Herobrine. And then we built this Zero Vault, and we were told by the mods that like, no, yeah, this is gonna be here. Like this is gonna be here a while. Like this might be what this looks like at the end of the server. And so we were like, awesome, great. I don't know how this like Herobrine fight's gonna go. We knew we were gonna lose. We knew good guys would lose, bad guys would win in that particular fight. What we didn't know was that the thing that Jed had spent, like, the better part of an afternoon...
Like 10 hours.
No sleep. Like, 10 hours? You spent 10 hours
I spent 10 hours on it, yeah.
They didn't give you World Edit, did they?
I was learning how to use World Edit.
Oh, you didn't know
I
how to
spent
use
3
World
hours
Edit.
without
That
it.
wouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have taken any time. Like I could have built that thing in half an hour with
Yeah.
World Edit. But like, it
Yeah,
doesn't look very
but,
impressive.
like,
But
there was
either
a lot
way,
of
the point is
things.
that you didn't. You spent several hours that
Mhm.
day working on this thing that like we thought we were gonna be like looking at for like a week and a half after that, still in the world.
man.
And so you took the time to really like, do we want the zeros squared or do we want them rounded? Do we want this amount of
Yeah.
screens on the side or do we want that amount of screens? And then the moment comes and the fight happens and everybody's all chaotic. And it's taking place inside this box, and the parkour really like kind of killed it a little bit. But we're fighting.
I was
and
told to
Herobrine's-
do that.
Herobrine's flying around. I think it was a good touch. I just think it. Like,
was,
I just
yeah.
think in the heat of combat, it was like, okay, well, let me do like 7 jumps and I'll be there.
Pain
You
in the
know?
ass.
But and everybody's fighting, and Herobrine's flying around the inside of the vault, and then it just starts being world edited out of existence, like very obviously,
like the
huge
walls,
chunks of it, just fucking. Like, all the blocks of one block type would just disintegrate in an instant in, like, a set box area. And so it was just, like, that miffed me a little bit for the rest of the day. I hold no ill will for anybody, but that miffed me a little bit just because you spent the rest of the night. You spent the rest of the night hammering about how this took me all afternoon. And it would have been, like, because, like, it would have been fine if they had run it past us at all. But, like, hey, this thing is going to be utterly and completely destroyed. That's like the opposite of what we were told was going to happen to this thing.
It got rebuilt after, though. That was the weird thing, was that it was
which
there.
was weird. So it was there, but like the big climactic moment, I don't know. I think it turned out for the better. I think in the end it turned out for the better because it's very funny for like the henchmen to have spent like days building this thing in lore for it to, and with like the idea that this will hold him back. We'll finally manage. Oh, he's broken it. He broke it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's funnier in the end, but because we had literally, at least Jed had literally spent the entire day working on it, and we had worked in character to hype this the fuck up, because we thought it genuinely was gonna work to some extent. Not completely, but to some extent. And it was just like, God fucking damn it. But no, yeah, that was a big moment in Console Craft. Console Craft was a lot of busy days like that, is what you were saying initially. The Console Craft was a lot of busy days. That had pissed me off,
and then we did Chain Together, and we were already angry, because then we knew we had to record a podcast episode after it, so we were just doing this, like, 4-hour Chain Together stream where we were kind of pissed, so we were like, fuck this shit, this game's garbage.
Like, sort of grumble state where we were really being mean about the video game in front of us, and then Chain Together took that to heart, and wouldn't ever let us stream it in peace again. Every time we streamed it after that,
holy
like,
shit,
Jed's breaker flipped the next time, and then the next time there was like an insane storm where Jed was at, and then I think I got an insane storm the third time pre-stream to the point where it's like I couldn't stream during this, like, because it's gonna knock the internet out for a bit at some point. It's guaranteed. So we just can't.
We just weren't even allowed,
and so we haven't ever gone back. We have like half an hour of that game left at most, but we can't play it because I'm waiting until we have enough modded content, and even then I'm kind of scared to.
Yeah,
I'm kind of scared to go back to it because I'm afraid of what it'll do to like streaming. Because of fucking, like, what like, trick does it have up its sleeve this time? It's gonna like strike us with lightning. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, there were a lot of long days like that in Console Craft. Was your general point. I believe. And it really was like a hectic time. I think you got to see the worst of it, just about between Console Craft and the events that happened after. Because it's no secret, that Sebastian Bush was facing some allegations. The owner of Willow at the time, the guy who ran Console Craft for all but the last week, was facing some allegations immediately following Console Craft. And so between that situation, he beat them. By the way, guy's innocent. But. Like, and a stand-up guy at that. But between that little incident and how, like, very, like, running like chickens with our heads cut off Console Craft was as a whole, and, like, I think you saw, like, the very ups and downs. I think it was a very trial by fire thing, at least in my eyes for you, of just, like, you want to do this? This is what it's gonna be like. At its absolute worst, here's its ugliest for the first month, And I felt really bad for you. I felt really bad for you at the time, but like looking back on it now that it didn't like scare you away like permanently from doing this kind of thing, it actually I think worked out for the better because like again that is probably the worst it will ever get, and you survived it once, and it's definitely not going to happen like that anytime soon until at least like February or March, whenever the next like big Bush project is.
It's real weird. I still get it though, where it's like every time there's some sort of like canceling or some big issue that happens in a circle that I'm in content wise, I always have this like evil guy on my shoulder who's just like, quit streaming. You don't want to do this. You can't control everybody around you who streams, and you can't vet them. So there might be bad people. Fuck it. Throw in the towel, leave. And like I have to like fight that demon every single time of just like, well, the next time I'll quit if it happens again. And I think I've said that like 3 times now. So
you've said that like 3 times.
Which the fact that it's happened 3 times.
Any danger. I don't think we're actually in any danger of you quitting based on this. But
yeah,
we want to talk about the podcast a little bit. We want to talk about the podcast
absolutely,
because you did mention very lightly that we started the podcast around the same time also, and then we sort of moved into console craft very fast, which I think is more fitting. Because the podcast wasn't really a focus for us until Console Craft was over.
No.
It was just kind of like a new thing that we were trying out on the side. Just to see if it would click. And it clicked. It clicked very well. It survived its, like, while we're doing Console Craft at trial period. I don't even know if I told you about that. I don't know if I told you about that. Of, like...
You didn't.
We started it, and I knew I had the number 4 in my head. I don't remember why I had the number 4 or 5 in my head. So I was like, that's a weird number of episodes. But my brain, for some reason, like the corporate executive part of my brain, like there's a little angry like television station manager in my head who like is how like I've personified killing my darlings, where it's like, you're having fun, nobody else is having fun, quit the project. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like the audience isn't liking it, move on. You know? And so like He's my way of like killing those little darlings of just like, but I like the podcast. It's like, the podcast sucks. It's out. It's no good. You know, we're filling it on the schedule with making TikToks. The kids like TikToks. But like
in the first month, I think people liked the podcast more than we liked doing it, and that was a really weird shock.
That was the thing. I gave it 5 days. That man in my head, who is also me, gave me like not 5 days, 5 weeks. Just like the duration of Console Craft. It's like, you got Console Craft going on. You won't really be able to watch these numbers if you're going to be up and down running around again, like you're backstage at like a Broadway show where nobody knows the script and the prop master's gone missing.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, if it's going to be like that for the next few weeks, that's the perfect time to like just throw something like this out into the world where you can't really stress yourself over it. If this period ends and you can actually look back at those 5 or 6 weeks and not see any views or growth or anything, then fuck it, you can call it then. But if that's not the case, if you're having fun doing it and an audience is found for it, even on any level, then sure, go ahead. And I feel like we've hit just about the start of the snowball for that. Not that we didn't have an audience recently. I feel like it's snowballing, because it's like, it's gone from, well, me and you like it, to, well, me and you and a few people a few people who have been on the show actively are cheering for it. And then it became, well, me and you and a couple of the people we talked to pretend to like it, at least as far as we know, because the numbers weren't really going up.
Yeah.
Were like, oh, I love the show. You know, so I think analytics might have either just been behind or somebody was lying to me. But like that, oh, we love the show sentiment spread to the point where like, well, we like it, and the people in our social circle at Willow like it, you know, and then all of Willow likes it pretty much, like, unanimously. Like the server as a whole, like the Willow Media Group as a whole could be said to like it. And then it became very quickly like, this guy I've never heard of who does content, Corrupten. I had never heard of Corrupten at the time.
Yeah,
than, like,
same.
The occasional reference or like on a tweet or something. Like, I knew they were like on the periphery of our circles, but from my perspective, it was very much this person I have never heard of in my entire life, who is a content creator, who would be somebody we would have on the show, just reached out, said they've heard just about every episode of the show, and they love it, and they want to be on as a guest. That was fucking crazy to me. And we could talk about
that was insane.
A little bit, because
we forgot
Corrupten was a great guest. Corrupten was a great guest. We were going to open the show with this. I'll be very brief, because again, we're on a time crunch a little bit this episode, so we gotta watch how long we say things, and how long we get terribly off topic. But Corrupten was a hell of a guest. They were great to just converse with. They were very, I think between Abens and Corrupten, we've had two very similar guests on in terms of vibe. I feel like we talked about a lot of the same thing, and they played a very good. They're very good at answering questions in the same way A-Benz was, but in the same way that A-Benz was, they were also very good at just like, well, we're out of questions. You want to just talk about stuff, you know? And they were a very good third player for our little duo here, you know. And it was nice.
Yeah,
it was good to have. It was good to have a guest.
It was really good, and we had our first like quote unquote world premiere thing.
Yeah, no, that is also huge to me. Even if it's for like a project I'm not familiar with, you know, it's actually really
it's still cool,
really fun to have like a guest go, hey, I brought a trailer I'd like to show, you know, because again, I have a big love of, as a child I had a big love of stand-up comedy, and I still do, and from that grew an appreciation of hosts, because like stand-up comedians tended to be hosts a lot for like roasts and toasts and sometimes boasts. But like things of that nature. And then they'll also like that grew into a love of like late night television and hosting in late night, and how like I'd love to do a podcast that's like late night someday. I'd love to do a podcast with that kind of structure, with like guests, like multiple guests and like announcements and fun little conversations, and it's like a couple hours long, and it'll be great. We'll have more time than like a late night show would have. And that idea eventually got dumbed down into like, well, I don't want to say just dumbed down, but like slightly dumbed down and altered and sort of morphed into what is now Vox and Jed
away
Fight
from
About It. And
a VR chat talk show to this. Yeah.
It really sets me in my shoes. Could you imagine having to, like, that was my big hang up about it. Wasn't even the money I'd have to spend to have sets made or anything, or models made for us. As much
getting
as
into
just
VR
like
every
we
time.
we would have to get into VR once a week, every week, for multiple hours of recording, not just the podcast, but multiple sessions, probably multiple times a week of when can we get this guest in, or you know, when can we do that? They say they're good on Wednesday. All right, we'll hop in Wednesday for a recording session where we just do that, and then we'll stitch it all together for the final product. And I think that could have worked, but like it would have been much more time consuming than the podcast was.
Yeah.
My point. Oh god, if I can avoid my voice cracking, I haven't taken a sip of my water in a minute.
Your point?
My point is that when we did that trailer, it made me feel very late night. Even though the trailer was in reverse on the screen, there was really nothing I could do about that. I wasn't sure if it actually was or not, so I didn't get a chance to like go like, hey, can we pause so I could fix this and then we'll play it again.
We'd already done it for those of you who are just viewers and not for those of you who aren't corrupt den. But
yeah. We had like those measly, pitiful viewers out there who haven't been on the show, you swine. We already had to back it up once because I forgot to turn the audio on for it. But it didn't have much text in it until the very end, and all the text was just Silent City, the name of the thing, and then 2025, which we said both of those things in the actual podcast. So I didn't figure it was that much of a sweat just to leave it flipped or to leave it mirrored.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, having that was, I feel like that's another like first for me that I can really like put down on my little board of things that this show has achieved for me. And it's just like, yeah, being able to sit down with something resembling a public figure as a guest. Because like saying public figure, you think like, oh shit, who did you have on? Fucking Gandhi? And it's like, no, we had Corrupten on, you know,
Corrupten,
like a figure on to come and show. Not that Corrupten's bad. I like Corrupten, but I'm not fucking Gandhi either. You know, I hope not. At least as far as I know, I don't know. But
didn't Gandhi kind of suck?
He was.
I don't
like
think we want to be
Gandhi
or
something.
Shit, he was a pedophile.
Even if he didn't suck, I don't think I want to be Gandhi. Like, at all. He's like boring, dude. World peace, fuck that.
Fuck. Damn.
Like, eat shit, motherfucker. Eat shit, motherfucker. Directed at Gandhi.
Directed at Gandhi,
a guy who will never see this show for several reasons.
Maybe he did. Maybe he has.
Maybe he's like
he's in like some like
smiling upward upon us. I don't know. And just
you think he's in hell? Are you implying that Gandhi went to hell?
He's a pedophile. You just said this. Do you have confirmation on that he's a pedophile? Because I don't want to run around calling people pedophiles.
Encouraged. He had like servants, and of course he wasn't a pedophile because he couldn't he couldn't have sex. That was part of
right.
being
He was, like,
that.
celibate.
But he had
He was
like
an incel. Or no, he was just a cell.
If I remember, he specifically requested like maids that were like 9 to 14-year-old girls that he would like request to like touch him.
Wasn't there was touching. Never mind. I thought you were going to just stop there, and I was like, so he wasn't necessarily a pedophile. He was just a creep. But either way, he's a creep, and I don't want to be him. And he's probably
either way. I don't want to be Gandhi.
I don't know. Do you think you could do enough?
He also was racist, I think.
Outweigh that. Do you think even somebody like Gandhi could like have a good enough impact on the world to like weigh that out on like the grand scales of balance or whatever?
It depends on what kind of afterlife you're thinking about, because
we're so in the way I was weeds raised right now. We're trying to redeem Gandhi on a show about talking about events that happened this year. I just realized we're so far like removed from the plot, but no. But getting to have somebody on and have them present a thing as an announcement first time right here, maybe damn near shed
it was amazing.
I felt like Conan for a moment there.
Honestly, because we had moved from me starting. Yeah, Conan. Why would you choose Conan?
Well, I like Conan a lot. I think
I know
he's probably
you like Conan.
My favorite late night guy. I'd rather be Conan than either of the
stupid and you're lame.
You like Jimmy? You're a Jimmy guy?
I don't like Jimmy. I'm just saying you're lame. I don't have a preference on late night
you like
show.
Jay Leno?
Who's the guy who ran the Daily Show for a while? Who had the nice hair?
The guy with the skeleton puppet.
Travis.
No, Travis. He's Scottish. Nobody's Scottish is named Travis. They're named Willy Wonka, dude.
Oh shit! Right? No, yeah, the unknown.
This show totally doesn't work because the guy we're thinking of is Irish.
It's not the Irish guy. It's the fuck. What is
something
his name?
Peterson.
He's Trevor Noah.
Peterson.
Trevor Noah. I like Trevor Noah.
You like Trevor Noah?
Yeah, you don't know him?
I know of Trevor Noah. I just think it's an odd pick. I'll figure out who the fuck this guy I'm thinking of is later. Sorry,
yeah.
We gotta. I feel the urge to mention that we got high last night. It's unexpected.
Okay, you want to talk about our plans?
I'm not high right now.
We gotta save that for our future.
I'm having like a mental carryover. Mental carryover of just brain fog right now. So I'm like having a hard time recalling things. But
yeah,
what was I saying? Let's not talk about our plan just now. But because
we'll talk about
more
that
so just we don't have time.
Yeah,
the time. But it was fun to present a thing on the show. That's all that I have to say about having Corrupt in on, was that they were a lovely guest. They did well, and I'm glad they brought a thing along.
What I found in the past year is I started streaming and I started doing the podcast, and the only thing I'm really passionate about is the podcast. I love streaming, but the podcast it's something I look forward to every week. It takes up the most mental energy out of everything in my life, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way as you. I'm a real big podcasting guy. I like my stand-up comedy. I like to my trade is the joke more than anything else. The joke is these are references nobody's gonna get. But my reference point is the joke. I like a good joke. I like to be able to do wordplay. I like my mouth is where like I'm best. Wink wink nudge nudge. But and so in it's no mistake that like the medium I enjoy most is the one about just kind of talking and like talking back and forth about things. I feel the same way as you, where it's like this takes up the most mental energy for me. Not in like a oh fuck I have to work on that kind of way, but in the like when I'm doing nothing, when I'm like out to lunch with my husband and I eat a particularly crunchy French fry, I make like a mental note to go like oh that was hard. That was really hard. We should talk about the difference between crinkle cut or like steak cut or like favorite fry kind.
Oh shit, yeah.
But like, no, I'm presenting that as a hypothetical. I'm
a shoestring. I like shoestring
fry guy. Those aren't bad.
Yeah, they get
like
good
seasoning.
Curly
fry. I think curly
they get
fries
good,
really good
seasoning coverage. God, you fell into my trap box.
No, I know. We can talk about it for a split second. It's fine. But like things like that, little notes like that, I'll keep marked in my head. And a lot of times they won't even make it to the notes document because I'll either deem them too stupid or too short of a topic. Because that's about as far as that topic needed to go. We could talk about steak cut and like how I like my steak fries a little bit when I have a dipping sauce.
Potatoey.
Well, I like them with a dipping sauce. I like when I want a fry that I can like drown in like a ketchup or like a mustard or like a barbecue sauce or something. Those are the ones I'm going for. I like them. I like them with ribs. With ribs, they're really good because you get like a mouthful of like wet, rich barbecue sauce, and then you fill it.
The McRib is back.
Is the McRib still back?
The McRib is back.
Jesus Christ!
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're talking about the fucking McRib. Oh my god.
We're talking about the McRib.
Little things. They either won't make it to the list just because like that's all I have to say about it, or that's too stupid. You know?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really make it to call a lot. But like these podcast recordings genuinely are just like top of my week. It's the thing that it's one of the few things. It also has the luxury of being one of the few constants in my life of when it comes to like the things that I make now that I don't schedule streams anymore either. Whereas, like, you know, 9 times out of 10, I know I'm doing the podcast on Thursday that particular week when the week begins. I know on Sunday at midnight, the second the week begins, that I have to do the podcast. And I know that if it's a solo episode, like just the two of us, sorry, I'm having like an indigestion thing.
Oh, wow.
But I know if it's a solo episode, just the two of us, then we're definitely recording on Thursday, and it'll definitely be around 8 p.m. So, like, because we have nobody else to schedule around, and that's
there are certainties.
Time that works great for us. But I also know if it's just the two of us that we've got to talk about things throughout the week, and you know, part of this show is talking about our experiences, and so having experiences is important. But because this is the only part of content that I make where it is explicit that like you must talk about the things you've done this week, it like worms its way into my brain perfectly, where it's like, oh, I'm having a really good round of this game. I really like this game. Let's talk about that on the show, you know? And so I'll lean over to my notes document, which is always open. I always have a notepad document open anyway, but now I have a special one for the podcast open, all week long. And I never save it. So if I were to ever like close this document, and Notepad remembers what documents were open, even if you close your computer and reopen it, even if they're unsaved, which is why I don't bother saving. Like, you know about this, right? Now they have this like tabs thing. I don't know if they cloud save it or what.
Yeah, no,
but
I save. That's how I save all my shit.
It's just like held in RAM for you, I guess. Which is fine because it's just a text document. It's a couple kilobytes. But you know, it's great. It's awesome. But if I were to lose that, I would lose the entire topics list, which isn't much.
It would be gone.
But no, this show definitely does take up the most like time in my brain outside of doing it. And I love that because it's also
great.
the thing that requires the least amount of work.
Yeah, it's the least amount of work. I think it's actually more work for me social energy wise because it's really about keeping up. But together, it's only 2 hours. You know?
We've covered that together. The two of us alone, social battery is irrelevant really because we're so comfortable with each other that it's like, if I get quiet or if I don't really like care to engage in the bit, it doesn't really matter because like there's nothing there. But then there's the fourth wall and looking out on you, the wonderful listener, and making sure the show is enjoyable for you. And that kicks social battery back into motion a little bit. Maybe someday we'll get to the point where like the like hypothetical third person behind the screen is also like so somewhat non-weird parasocial chummy with us where we can like not eat our social battery away while doing things like this too. But again, it's only 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's never
it's only 2 hours.
An insanely long day of talking to people. This is nothing. This is just fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. Yeah. But
you got general thoughts about having done content this year and what you've achieved in content this year?
I really don't. But I'm thinking about the podcast special that we've had. I think it's come on like 3 or 4 times. We could do a lightning round for news things if you wanted to do that.
I don't think we need a lightning round just yet. I think
you don't
we
think
continue
so?
to cover things. I think a lot of mine are light anyway. I didn't think we were gonna get 15 minutes out of Willy Wonka experience though. So you know, what do I know? We could talk yours. Technically, I just brought up a thing actually, so you do your thing next.
Oh
you
shit!
Do your thing next because like I used a freebie. Remember?
You used one of the freebies. You're a shitty son of a bitch. What happened this year?
Good topics.
This is a really light one that I don't think we'll have much.
Console craft. What happened next?
Post console craft. Are we talking about like personal stuff or like? I was gonna go back to old things. Okay, then Mike Tyson.
Older, if you have anything older.
Yeah, I don't have too much older. I just like mine aren't really laid out in time order, just in relevance.
Okay, so we're
Like
just
Mike
covering these
Tyson
in
happened.
whatever order we feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson
yeah.
versus
Fuck
Jake
you.
Paul.
That
Or is it
happened,
Logan Paul?
and it was
It
sad.
was Logan
It was
Paul.
Jake Paul. No, it was Jake Paul.
No, it was Logan
No,
Paul,
it
wasn't
was
it?
Jake
No, it
Paul.
was Jake. It was Jake because we had to keep correcting people like 3 times throughout the night. They were like, "Isn't that the guy who like filmed a hanged man in Japan?" And they went, "No, that's the other one." We had to do that like 3 separate times. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember now. At
Yeah, it
least.
was a hell of a night.
That was sad, dude. I actually quite like boxing. I not enough to seek it out, and definitely not enough to pay pay-per-view prices. Have you seen what they want for events like that? Jesus
oh my god, yeah.
You'll never get me on a sports plan, I'll tell you that much. But when a free event like
ESPN
this, like
now,
hosted,
dude.
like a quote-unquote free thing that's like hosted by Netflix, or like, you know, an event that I really, really care about. Like, I watch a lot of content creator boxing just because, like, honestly, for the entertainment value, not so much about the content creators, but there's, like, the reason I watch things like that is, like, threefold. It's, like, A, everybody on Twitter is going to be talking about it tomorrow, and I'm going to feel left out. And
May as well
like,
know
half the jokes on my timeline are going to be useless to me if I don't watch them, you know, or if I don't watch this. And then B, who doesn't want that? Because I've been a champion of that idea that somebody had about like the Olympics and giving like every sport should just have a normal guy from whatever country they're doing, like just some schlub they got off the street and go like, all right, pole vault. Just for comparison's sake, to see how well like that guy in your 30s who's sitting next to you at the bar watching the Olympics, who's like, I could do that. Make him do it. Make him try to do it. Make a guy like him do it on live television. Somebody's like, okay, getting themselves embarrassed. Hell, I'd do it. I'd do any of those.
You'd do it?
I'd do any of those. Do you have a sport of choice? I would like to do track and field because I think that's the most potential. I would really like to just like be stood next to Usain Bolt and have him like lap me 4 fucking times before I'm off the first curve.
I think I would like to do like Olympic shooting because I think I'm an okay shot. I don't think I'm anywhere near Olympic though. So like it's kind of a baseline of like, yeah, this is better than average, but definitely not, you know, not crazy. I think that's what I would choose. Yeah.
You think you'd go Olympic shooting?
But
what were we talking about again? Boxing, right?
We were talking about boxing. Although the Olympics were on there, so there we go. Boom, boom. 2 topics done.
You want to cover that as our Olympics talk? I want to talk about what's her face and her bad breakdance.
We'll talk about what's her face.
Australians can't breakdance. There we go. That's all I actually have to say.
All of them.
Collectively. Actually, no. Some Australians.
Oh my god.
I take it back. Just that one. She sucks.
Yeah. Dank pods, dude.
That actually is a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. Just like get somebody out there who just fucking blows. Like has like the average person's ability to do that. I think that's real good. And so in that vein, I like the idea of content creator boxing. A lot of people are like, what the fuck does this have to do with making a YouTube video? But it's like, you're telling me you don't want the guy who covers like city skylines patch notes every week to have to learn how to fucking box?
What a bizarre like call.
I made up a guy.
Yeah, I know.
That guy exists. I'm certain of it, but I just made one up for now.
Why city skylines?
I don't know. I've been thinking about city skylines because it's on sale and I got like a Steam notification about it being on sale today, despite the Steam sale being going on for like fucking 3 weeks or like all week.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like who doesn't love it? Like that sounds like the fantastic plot of like a fucking comedy of just like you've been served papers, you've been selected to like fight a guy in the ring of boxing. We got you a trainer. You can pick who does it, we'll pay for it, and then you go and do it. And then in a year, you have to box the guy. You've got a year to prep, and then you have to box the guy. Like, I think that's really funny. I think that's insanely funny, because it's practically what it is. It's like reality TV. Because a lot of these creators will post, like, training videos and shit, and it's like, fucking Skyline Sam, the guy who does the City Skylines videos, he's fucking, that idiot can't throw a right hook. He's having to learn how to do it. Look at him go. And it's like, I can't really throw a right hook, not at, like, a professional boxing level. And now he's got and Mike Tyson is such a funny example of that. I think a lot of people gave Jake Paul a lot of shit, rightfully so, of like, what, you're gonna bring one of the best either it went 2 ways where it's like either you're gonna bring one of the best fighters into the ring and fight him because your ego's that fucking big, or you've just fought a retired fighter who hasn't really fought in the last decade at all. and like it could barely have been like wasn't fighting a decade ago and wasn't fighting a decade before that professionally. I think he's done like little bouts in that decade.
He's done little bouts, but like
like nothing major. And the guy's like what, 70, 80, somewhere in between. I think
65 or something.
He's definitely past retirement age.
He's an old man.
Like you're beating a retiree, or you're being beaten by like one of the best fighters in the world because you flew too close to the sun. Those are your options here. And it ended up being really neither. It ended up being like a third sadder thing in that like if either one of them looked like they were really giving it their all, I would have been fine with it. I think I would have like called the night a net good, but it felt like they both knew how it was going to end because they had been like Mike was like paid off. I don't want to, allegedly. Like
I think so.
Like the situation in my head is Mike was paid off, didn't want to hit him too hard, barely even hit him one time. And like there's points where he visibly stopped himself from swinging when he was going to.
Like, he was going for like a kill shot on him, and he just like
multiple times. And he's sitting there and he's biting his glove, and he's just, like very clearly like holding himself back and restraining himself. And like then Jake Paul is just like throwing these like ass punches that I'm sure were kind of hard, but like, from a distance on camera didn't read well as like great punches. And we had seen boxing matches before that. Like the boxing matches they had on the two like runner-up events or like pre-main event matches that they had were great. I liked both of them. Both of those fights went great. Yeah. In the second one, the female boxing one, where they had two female boxers come up and box each other. Like it ended in blood, dude. Like there were injuries from that fight.
Oh,
and it looked gnarly as hell because that lady got her like eyebrow cut, and like the person she was boxing was like notorious for being a shithead and punching like, way too hard and like headbutting and whatnot when they like or like breaking the rules in little ways that the ref won't really care about, you know?
Yeah.
And so like when you line up two great fights and then the third one is all right, these are two men, one young, one old. And it looks like if they looked anything alike, you could convince me that was a guy just like having it out with his dad at like after Thanksgiving. Like they had both just eaten and they entered the politics talk and were like, "You want to take this outside, buddy?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. Finish my macaroni and cheese. And then they step outside and they're like half in a food coma, just kind of at each other. It sucked because you even compare that to other YouTuber boxing with no professional boxers whatsoever. There was that one round, there was that one fight somewhat recently. I think it was the previous YouTuber boxing event before this one, where fucking Wings of Redemption and Boogie 2988 fought, which are like two notoriously out of shape individuals who like lean on the fact that they're out of shape for like content in a lot of cases. And a lot of people were hyping this up, and they're both assholes is the biggest thing. At this point, Boogie 2988 is disgraced, and Wings of Redemption, I don't think ever wasn't disgraced. And so like they're very much just like a lolcow fight, for lack of a better way of putting it. And they were giving it everything, dude. They were coated in sweat.
Dude.
They were doing like long arm punches.
They
like,
were fighting for those $10,000, dude.
Like the King Kong guy from like the Hawaiian Fighter in Punch Out, who you like knock his pants down and punch him in the belly button like 8 different times. Yeah, no. They were swinging like that guy, just like big overhead sweeping shots and just like boom. And like they were taking the hits really poorly too. So like you'd see like 2-3 punches and a guy would go flying or flat on his ass. It was great. But like, then you're telling me these two men, both of whom were professional boxers at one point, just sucked? Like, come on.
They just sucked.
They just sucked. It was just like kind of a bum ending of the night.
It was just a bum showing from everything ever. I don't know.
Because you watch the first fight, the first preliminal they put on, like the first like little thing, and it was like, oh, that fight was all right. That fight was all right. I kind of want to get to the main event now. Oh, we got another fight to go? Okay, I'll watch another fight. And then the second fight happens. It's like, well, that fight was actually really good. That was really cool as fuck. That was wicked as hell. Can't wait for the main event now. I'm hype. And then the main event started, and it's like, this is worse than the first one, like by a mile.
Boring.
You know, this sucks. Yeah. No, but like, That's just it. That's just
that was something from this year. That was a big thing because that's been like in the works for a few years now. But
man.
yeah.
Moving on.
You got something else?
I got something though. Speaking of fights that happened this year, where one fighter was clearly doing much better than the other. The Drake versus Kendrick beef happened this year. That's worth talking about. That's worth talking about. Where, again, it was much like that. It was much like that. That good boxing match I mentioned, where like there were metaphorical injuries happening in this fight. It was a real bout. It lasted pretty much into the fall, like from right at the end of summer into fall. It was the big gateway of that, and obviously like Drake was throwing shit out like, oh man, your music kind of sucks. And I think you pretend to be better than you are because you have a fucking ego and like a complex. And then Kendrick would fire back with, yeah, but like you and the people you hang around are pedophiles. So what now?
Yeah.
What now, asshole? And then Drake would go, fuck, I don't really have much for that. I'm gonna leave now. And so like a lot of that was very much, and then Kendrick proceeded to do like 6 victory laps on him.
Yeah, dude, you really didn't have
really
to do
good.
That.
Like it's like stop, he's already dead. But I think the best thing to come of this is we probably won't be hearing from Drake for a while. Because I don't know if you know this. Right before this beef began in summer, Drake was up. Drake and Kendrick were both up for contract renegotiations, I believe. This is what I had heard for UMG, the record label that has the both of them. And Drake went up for his negotiations and was like, nah, save it for after the beef. Save it for after I win. That'll be my big victory, is being able to get a bigger salary for my next album. Because his vision was, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to beat Kendrick, which is a laughable thing to think about because you're barely a rapper anyway, Drake. But like, you're barely a lyricist to fucking begin with. You're fucking more, you're more hop than hip, really. But fucking like, he was like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna beat Kendrick, and then I'm gonna return and sign this new contract and be able to renegotiate it to get myself an extra couple million on the side because I'll be the hottest artist in the world for doing that. Obviously, things didn't go that way. And last I heard, he was having a little bit of contract negotiation trouble keeping his existing salary.
Oh, damn. Ramp.
And at the same time, Kendrick is selling out a stadium in Drake's hometown for his next tour, which is fucking crazy. A stadium where Drake has never even performed, mind you.
That's wild.
And then Drake proceeded to stunt on him. Or not Drake, but Kendrick proceeded to stunt on him again. Drake tried to stunt on Kendrick a little bit by going, "Fuck it, you wanna buy this out? You probably will sell it out, but I'm buying the first row all the way around. I'm buying the entire first fucking row. You'll have no fans in your first fucking row, not one. I'm gonna buy it out." And Kendrick went, "Yeah, that's cool and all, but if seats are empty at show day, I'm gonna give them out for free." And so Drake couldn't just buy all the seats and leave them empty. So like now, like people are talking about how, like joking about how he must be in the scramble to find like 100 of his closest allies to like fucking sit like, down in enough of these seats to matter and just boo him or some shit. Yeah. But no, like
that's silly.
That's just where that's at right now. And then Kendrick dropped GNX, and GNX is pretty good. And people still have hope that another album is coming early next year from Kendrick because we still have some teasers some teasers and snippets we haven't heard the full thing for, which I'm really excited about. Oh man.
But that was a fun beef. That was a fun beef. Way more interesting than fucking
It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had a remarkable rap beef like that. Like something that the whole music industry, even outside of hip hop, was weighing in on. Like it's been a real long time. Especially like And especially since it wasn't even, like, obviously Kendrick's very West Coast, and he's very West Coast centric. But, like, because we were up against a Canadian who doesn't really even have a fucking city, like, American on the coast or otherwise, this didn't do what a lot of other beefs do and become very secular, where it was, like, very West Coast, East Coast, it became the West Coast versus Drake. So it was very much that like our single target at hand is Drake and his closest friends, you know?
Yeah.
And not like it didn't become like a culture war at all as much as it just was like, yeah, no, sitting here watching this fight on the sidelines, it's a good show and Kendrick's winning. So
yeah, Kendrick's like definitely winning. Yeah. From that like internal period. But
that was our little rap beef tangent, because that was, I feel, a pretty large moment in the year that took place right about after Consolecraft, started right about after Consolecraft, which is interesting. But yeah, you got another news. You want to talk about more news?
I do. I've got somebody who's probably honestly on par with Kendrick when it comes to their talent. The Hawk Tuah girl.
Oh,
no, I'm joking, obviously. But the Hawk Tuah girl is...
God, I forgot you had this. Let's talk about fucking Hawk Tuah. Let's talk about fucking Hawk Tuah.
We've got beef. We've got beef with the Hawk Tuah lady, as now we are both podcasters. Come fight us. Like, physically come over and we'll fight you. But no.
I do not want the Hawk Tuah lady, Haley Welsh, on my show. I don't want it.
She's so unfunny.
Yeah, she's so unfunny, but also, like, she did, like, a cryptocurrency rug pull, and her answer to it was just, like, some I'm just a girl shit, and it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Women can't have hobbies?
Like, it was very much like a women can't have hobbies moment, where it's like, that's not what we're saying. You like, intentionally swindled a bunch of people who, like, because a lot of the time when these crypto things happen, my immediate knee-jerk, and a lot of people's response to it was very much just, well, if you get crypto scammed at this point, it's kind of your fault. You know, and it's like, I'd say that about me and anybody on my level when it comes to like knowing anything whatsoever about crypto. But you got to think, the Hawk Tuah podcast has an audience of like teenage girls and like older women and a lot of like people who aren't insanely tech savvy or like in the tech sphere whatsoever, who maybe have only heard of cryptocurrency as far as Bitcoin was big like a few years ago. You know?
Yeah.
Like somebody who didn't even hear the word Bitcoin till like 2019, 2020. You know, those kinds of people who like aren't super up on the trade and might not even know what an NFT is. And so like that's why I sort of have a little bit more disdain for this particular one, because in a lot of cases it is just pulling the wool over the eyes of some assholes, except like a lot of the time it's the same like 2,000 assholes who are like, you stole my money. I purchased
this one.
I purchased shitcoin from you, and then you sold all your shitcoin because you had majority stake, and you got like $1 billion for it because everybody wanted it, and you were selling yours, and then once you sold yours, the price fucking plummeted because you weren't talking about it anymore.
Yeah,
and you killed it.
No more shitcoin.
Like, practically stole all my shitcoining money, you know, and like
that was money I was saving for my child's hospital funds.
Yeah, no, but, like, that's what I'm saying is that, like, if it were those same assholes who, like, fell for this, and before that they fell for Dogecoin, and before that they fell for NFTs, and down the way, because it is typically those kinds of people who fall for these sorts of things, because they're like, surely this one's mine. Because, like, they don't even see it as being scammed a lot of times as much as just, that was just a bad investment.
They can get involved into
I made one bad investment, but, like, if I get in on the scam early enough, it's my scam, and I get to have it. You know, and I get to be the guy who profits a little bit while the big guys profit a lot. And it's like, nobody profits but the big guys, you fucking moron. Read some Karl Marx and figure that out. But I don't know.
God, read Karl Marx.
Read him. Go read him. I'm sure he's got, like,
read him.
Text on him somewhere. You can find it. At least, like, a...
Can you? Like, isn't he, like, hella decomposed?
Like, the tag on his suit or something that he was buried in? I don't know, man.
Yeah. Would you wear in a casket suit? Would you wear Karl Marx's suit?
I don't think I would wear. Oh, would I wear a suit that somebody's been dead in? Yes.
Like, not been dead in, but like you dug it up, found a really nice suit. Fuck it, sure.
Like, can I get it cleaned? Am I allowed to have it cleaned?
Yeah, you can get it cleaned, sure.
Like, I'm not gonna put it on with all like the dirt and like corpse juice on it, but if assuming the corpse juice comes out with like none to very little noticeable staining, I'll take it. You know?
Fuck it, sure.
I was just talking about
You'll
this
wear
earlier.
Karl
I was talking about buying clothes. It's just like,
yeah.
I'll wear just about anything at a discount. You can give me like clothes somebody died in actively, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll take it as long as it's not underwear. I'll never buy used underwear under any condition. I think that's a given. But like,
yeah,
you know, unless those pants have to like be like noticeably damaged for me to not want them. Like, I have a class of 76 45th reunion high school t-shirt from somebody's high school
45th.
reunion. And it's their 45th high school reunion, like, button-up shirt, and it just has, like, a funky pattern, and I wanted it. And I thought class of 76 45th reunion was really funny for some reason.
That is really funny, yeah.
It's a really weirdly specific, it's just like, what were you wearing? Like, 'cause I'm imagining being, like, in court, and somebody, like the prosecutor talking to me and going, "Ah, yes, and what were you wearing while you were in the park on that day?" And it's like, "Oh, I was wearing my class of 76 45th reunion button-up shirt, obviously, with the tigers."
Yeah.
And they'll go, "What? Okay."
The what?
Like, I feel like that's just a weird little anecdote. But like, that shirt is clearly made for a man my size, and like my size, but a little bit thinner and taller by a couple inches. And so it was, whenever I think of the guy who owned this before me, I think of a very, like, gout, sort of sunken-in-cheeked old man who's, like, one shiver away from the grave, you know? Who, like, 'cause I bought it, and the day I bought it, my husband looked at it and went, you know, that guy who probably had that is dead, and that's why it's in the thrift store. And I went, yeah, probably, but the shirt's mine. You know?
Yeah, fuck it. It's funny, though.
Like, he could have died in it. It wouldn't change my love of that shirt any at all, really. I'm sure he would be happy that I have his shirt. You know, I'm sure he's pleased with himself.
You'd get along with that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he could be. I might not get along with that guy. Who knows? He might be right there with Gandhi. I mean, the shirt is orange,
yeah.
So, you know.
But
Well,
what?
like, Gandhi.
Are you referencing Gandhi's clothes? I mean, Gandhi was a dude. Gandhi was a guy. He wore clothes that weren't.
You picture Gandhi in your brain. You picture, like, the, like, orange sort of, like, toga.
No,
thing
I think about
on,
white
like, sort of,
togas.
like, monkish behavior. He wore an orange one at some point, right?
Yeah, he did.
Confusing him with, like, generic monks. I don't know. Maybe
he did.
The photos
I think
are in black and white. Maybe you, like, have, like, stupid elephant memory where you're picturing a black and white image of him.
Gandhi.
Okay,
yeah,
Gandhi.
No, he wears white. White in everything. Yeah.
Well, symbol of purity, piece of shit. Fucking how pure are those 14
orange? I'm not seeing. There's no photos in here that are orange. Did you get?
Like, I don't know. I imagine like a man of religion, like a man of religious belief.
You're
with a
thinking of
head.
Aang.
No, I'm genuinely just thinking of, like, the stereotypical image of a monk, basically. When I think of Gandhi, except it is Gandhi. Like, it is Gandhi. I guess I'm just pulling
in
the
your head.
orange
Gandhi's
for, like,
in there.
Like, Gandhi is, like, roped into the same category as, like, not actual Gandhi, of course. I don't, like, rope real people into, like, my brain into, like, stereotypes or anything. But I have, like, the like, iconic figure of Gandhi is, like, right beside monks in my brain. They're kept in, like, the same shelf, you know? But, like, no, yeah.
Is that how they work?
What were we talking about? Oh, the guy who owned my shirt. Would I buy a shirt that somebody died in? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
How did we get there, though? That's the question. That's the real question.
I don't know. I think you're talking about Karl Marx being dead and, like, read it on him.
Oh, we're talking about
Hawk Tuah.
We got from Hawk Tuah.
Oh, wow.
You wear a shirt somebody died in.
Anyway, the Hawk Tuah lady fucking sucks. She's unfunny, and she didn't deserve the place that she got in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I both love and hate this thing we're in where, like, everybody gets their 15 seconds of fame, literally. Like, I hate that that's a thing that, like, sci-fi predicted, where, like, everybody's famous for 15 minutes. It's not quite 15 minutes yet, but the gap is getting shorter.
Yeah.
I hate that, like, and man on the street content is what's producing most of this. We have had a big wave of man on the street indie content recently, and I think it's just about over. I think that trend, like, pretty much died with Hawk Tuah because everybody saw her blow up and went, like, that I don't want that. Like, it's like the opposite of the thing where, like, people are like, we could be the next that guy, and it's like nobody wants to be the next Hawk Tuah, you know?
Yeah.
Not a soul.
Everybody was like, fuck, dude, I don't want.
But moving on to something else that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Hurricane Helene happened this year. It was a I'm comparing the Hawk Tuah lady to Hurricane Helene.
All right, yeah, sure, fuck it. All right.
No, what's wrong with that? Go ahead.
What's wrong with it is that dude, people died. A lot of people died.
And a lot of people lost money, and maybe there's like an indirect kill count you could make for the money lost. Maybe somebody like couldn't pay their kids' medical bills or something, like you said, because of the fucking they put all their money in Hawktua coin.
All right. Well, I definitely don't.
Hurricane Helene.
Yeah. Hurricane Helene.
Like the mostly like the western side of the country, pretty much all the way up to like North Carolina and Virginia and places like that even got a little bit of it. It didn't hit us super bad.
Wouldn't normally, yeah.
But it was insane that this hurricane season actually produced one because people talked about it. Okay, so I'm sure the history books, right, when they write about this as one of the big hurricanes that hit this portion of the country, I'm sure when they write about it, school children are often going to be confused about, like, but why didn't they just evacuate? The news was saying it was going to be that bad. Why didn't they leave? They don't understand. What they won't have the context for is every hurricane is that big until it isn't. Every single one has the potential to be that big. And so when they report about it in the weather, they report the same exact way until they started saying shit like evacuate Tampa, Florida, like get out of Tampa. Like until they started saying that shit and talking about how like if you're not going to get out, fucking like carve your like full legal name into your arm or whatever so that we can find you and identify you later.
Oh my god.
Like that's genuinely what the police were saying. They were saying, like, not carve, but they were saying, like, take a permanent marker, write down your home address and full legal name so that we can identify any parts of you we find later. That's what they were saying about how bad that was going to hit Tampa. Which is a little hilarious when you see that, like, Tampa didn't even get it the hardest. Like, they got it about that bad. The bridge was out. The Tampa bridge was out for, like, a week, apparently. But, like, otherwise... A lot of homes were destroyed, but most people heeded the warning and evacuated. And those who didn't, the kill count was like insanely low, actually, for that kind of thing. There, at least. It was about what was expected.
In North Carolina.
Because North Carolina got hit really hard. So the kill count was about accurate, just for the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people got hurt and injured in Carolina, and that sucked. And normally I wouldn't want to talk about this on the show, because that's kind of like a down note for the year. But it's significant to us because it also hit my place. And I was like, luckily I'm not dead, injured, or anything. And I don't know anybody who's dead or injured. But it downed a lot of power lines in my area. So I had to like go stay with the in-laws for a week. And we couldn't do the podcast or streams or anything. And that fucking sucked. I'll tell you, that very much opened my eyes up to like, you have what you have till it's gone kind of thing. Like you never know quite what you have until it's out of your hands. Where it's like, man, I really want to do this now. Normally I treat... Doing streams occasionally, I get a little hung up on it, and it's like, man, I gotta do a stream tonight, you know? And obviously I have fun doing the streams, but I've mentioned this before. I've talked about how I get, like, in a headspace about it occasionally, where it's like, oh, I have to stream, which means it sucks now. But, like, the second I couldn't anymore, I was like, no, actually, that's great, and I love it. It just is so routine for me. But no, that was a weird week for the podcast, and that's the week we decided that 50 is our target number, not 52, because there are 52 weeks in a year, and 50 is kind of an odd one, and we've already missed a week because of that. So if we kept going without missing one, we'd finish out our first year of the podcast with 51 episodes. Year as in 1 year of doing the show, not like this episode should be 51, but isn't for some reason. So we've decided to give ourselves the wiggle room of 50. We want 50 for this first season.
2 weeks off.
We get 2 weeks off total in a year for this, which is great because I don't think we're gonna have more than 2 emergencies in a year. That hit this year, and I wanted to talk about
crazy.
It was a little bit personal, and it was a little bit crazy, and I thought it was really fucking wild.
It is wild for what happened, but
you got anything?
As we get more,
you got another news item.
We already talked about the Olympics, kind of, and you said Australia sucks, and
we covered the Olympics because Australia sucks. They had that like one-sided beef with us. I'm just now remembering that. So like, actually, fuck you guys a little bit now that I think of it.
Aw.
I'm only an American patriot when it means I can fucking like make other countries bite the curb for a minute.
What the fuck?
I don't like my patriotism because it brings me closer with my fellow man. I like my patriotism because it means fuck those guys over there. It leads to nationalism. And nationalism has historically always been a good trait.
Nationalism is good.
Yeah, go for it, Jed. What's your next news item? I bet that'll be good.
My final news item is Tesla robots. You were wrong. And them existing, and that was funny. But I don't have much to say about it other than... Huh?
Was I wrong about something relating to the Tesla robots?
No, you were wrong about the fact that you said it was something good.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't something good. Right, okay. No, I thought you were, like, opening with... You were wrong about that, by the way, in hindsight. But no, the Tesla robots are crazy. I think they're gonna flop. I don't think they're actually gonna do anything. Like, obviously, because these are... It's built on, like, this mechanical
these are
type
drones
situation where, like, these are drones piloted by human beings, not by AI. And, like, we only really saw them in, like, a proof of concept method. But even if you were to get AI to power these fucking things successfully and get them to manage just about anything, nobody's buying them enough to really...
Nobody's gonna fucking get one,
like, make that dent. Even the rich, kinda, like, a lot of the, like, rich population, like, can acknowledge, like, this sucks. This is just, like, a really expensive toy that doesn't even do what you want it to do, really. And it doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those times where someone has gone so far out of their way, and I believe this about Elon Musk because he's a fucking dipshit, but he's overreached this time and he's like Steve Jobs asking to make the iPhone, except he's asking for, like, a much further reach than that. Like, an assimilation of life. He's asking for a robot that could do anything that you wanted it to do using generative AI to figure out how to do it. But it's just like, you're trying to make, you know, a machine that does everything, but by that like estimation, you've made a machine that does nothing, like, particularly well. Like, it doesn't do anything, like, to the skill level a real human could just do it for you real quick. Like, if you want this thing
other
for
than,
more
like,
than
fucking with Kai Cenat, like, you know.
Yeah, like, other than, like, entertainment value at just, like, this is the kind of thing, like, a manned drone robot is the kind of thing they designed for, like, a theme park or, like, a fucking, like, road show back in the day. I'm just like, look at our, like, main attraction. Haha, isn't he neat? You know, but, like, it's not really, like, a product. I don't think it's, like, you know, something people want, even.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
But that's
it's so, like, worthless. Yeah, Tesla robot sucked. But that was a big thing this year. And that was the last of my news. So,
speaking of things that suck, I'll go through this real quick. This is the last huge news thing I have. And it's that everybody got real annoying about Wicked. I don't even want to talk about the movie. I just want to talk about how, like, everybody got so, like, all the fans of that film got so fucking annoying about it so fast. And I don't mean any of the racial stuff. I don't mean any of the, like, calling out racism, of course, because there was a little bit of racism thrown at this movie. Yeah. Because you obviously can't have even a, like, I struggle to even say black protagonist, because the protagonist isn't black, the actress is. We had, like, a green protagonist, and they were mad about it.
People are pissed about
they're pissed about it. Yeah, no, they're just pissed that there was a black actress involved, I guess. I don't know. But otherwise, like, just even in their enjoyment, I hate to call people who are just simply enjoying a thing they like annoying, but they're being so fucking insufferable about it all the time.
Yeah.
I hate these people. It's very much a Taylor Swift kind of enjoyment that they're having. Like, the Swifties. Yeah. And I don't mind talking about the Swifties just a little bit. There are some nice people that I know that like Taylor Swift. However, those are individuals. As a collective, Swifties are, like, the most bird-brained people on the planet, dude. I swear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was some Taylor Swift stuff that happened this year, but I don't know it well enough to fucking put it on my list.
I don't know enough about fucking Taylor Swift. I know enough about Muppet Vision 3D closed. And I wanted to mention that just to piss you off, kind of,
fucking kidding
one
me.
time on stream. And that sucks that we lost Muppet Vision 3D. It genuinely does suck. I won't go any further than that, because we talked about it like 2 episodes ago. And we're running out of time. Or, like, running out of time, but we're running out of time for the amount of things that we want to talk about. But December's been fucking crazy in the meantime.
December has been crazy.
Has been insane. Do you mind if I lightning round, like, 4 different
lightning round, go.
Okay, Superman trailer. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty fucking good. Looks pretty damn fucking good. Love it.
We're at the present ghost now.
Real excited. The present ghost is here, by the way. We've moved on to we're being like pointed at by the fucking ghost of Christmas present, I guess. Creature Commandos is pretty good too, in the same vein. James Gunn is doing some damn good work over at the DCU recently. I'm loving it a lot. Sad they killed our boy. Spoilers. I won't mention who our boy is. Speaking of dead people, we got Build 42 of Zomboid, Project Zomboid. Build 42 is in its, like, public beta testing phase, and that's something that I genuinely thought would never see the light of day. Like, I genuinely lost all hope of them actually finishing it just because it was such a big thing. TF2 Comic 7 came out this month. Jed still hasn't read it, and so I won't spoil anything. But it's a really good end to the story, and I think they subverted a lot of expectations with how some of the plot lines specifically around Scout were going to end, and saw how, like, people assumed they would end and how they've ended them in, like, the game universe, and went, we need to do something a little different, and I think it came out great. Very good swan song. Very good swan song to TF2. But that's all that stuff. New Doctor Who too, by the way. We got a new Doctor Who special.
Oh shit!
I think the new season actually came out this year too. So
weird. Yeah.
A little bit of past.
The new special was weird.
It was a weird one. I didn't mind it. It was fun, but I don't really have much thought about it. I'm gonna have to watch it a couple more times before I really, really feel like it.
Yeah. But what do I have for present?
Okay, so chat, real quick. Not chat. I feel like I'm streaming. But like whenever I have to say something like real disheartening to chat, I open that way because I feel like a parent disappointing their children about just like, look, I know I said we'd get McDonald's if you got all A's. However, we can't right now. You know, we're not. There is no McDonald's. We can't afford it. But and I was about to inform our dear listener in that same vein that we also prepared end of year personal items, which are just like items that happened to us this year that are personal that we wanted to talk about. And I think I talked about like a bunch of the big shit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the other stuff I've talked about. I think instead, because that's also a list of 5, and because it took us like damn near the whole show to get through 10 things about the past news-wise, I think we should just do one. We'll do one personal thing this year that we really liked before we move fully on into the present. Because technically all the stuff I just mentioned was technically still the past by at least a day. So we're technically we're in the present.
Fucking semantics piece of shit.
Now we're in the present. But I'll go first.
Go for it.
I know I kind of just stole that from you. I've become a lot more confident in myself, and I like that. I like that I am a more confident person than I was at the start of the year. I'm a more confident person than I was the start of the season. Like the start of the winter season.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's a lie. Cause the winter solstice was a new thing yesterday. So,
well, yeah, whatever.
But it was a real quick turnaround. It's a transition I'm still going through, and I'm very proud of myself for that personal growth that I've made this year. Jed, you got anything meaningful? Yeah. You got any meaningful shit that happened this year? You got one? Pick one of your 5. Go.
My best friend in high school called me up and said he was having a baby and that he was like keeping it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm an adult now."
Yeah.
And I kind of had a moment of like, "Oh shit, I'm like really there." Like not just me mentally, but like everybody around me. I've hit that point. I can't buy weed yet, but you know.
Yeah, for me, that realization has come a little late. I'm having a similar time with that, where it's like I'm having less of a I am a legal adult now, and more of I'm well into being an adult. Like I'm not dipping my toes in. I've taken the splash into being an adult over the past couple of years without ever really stopping to examine how good of a job I'm doing or if I'm headed the right way with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm right there with you in that realization a little bit of just like, man, you're a grown adult. Where are you? Are you proud of yourself? You know, everybody I know who cares, you know, about me is proud of me and where I'm at. But, you know, I'm a hard to satisfy guy. So like clearly I'm not. I'm proud of myself, but I'm not satisfied just yet.
You're a pain in the ass is what you are. I can't believe this.
No, I'm absolutely a pain in the ass. Did I just steal your entire set of talking points for this?
No. No, you're a pain in the ass as in
now? Okay.
No, because it's like, yeah, I think everybody around me says I'm doing a good job, but I think I could be better. And it's like, you say that for fucking everything.
Yes, because there's always room to improve in this thing we call life, Jed. There's always more to do and more to see, and a better person to be on the end of it. That doesn't mean I'm not happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm pretty content about it, frankly, but like I'll never be perfectly satisfied with where I'm at, and that's okay. I made my peace with that. I made my peace.
Figure that shit out, dude.
I have figured it out, and my resolution on that, my resolution to that particular bit was that I'm just kind of happy with where I'm at, and I'm content with the fact that I'll be better tomorrow. I know that there's a better me to be tomorrow, and I'm content with the fact that I will be better tomorrow. I just have to let it happen to me, you know? And so there's no unfulfillment there or anything.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
makes
fair
it sound
enough.
like there is now that I'm going well out of my way to clarify that there's not. But I just need you to understand, man. I'm not like a sad sack about it.
Sure, I'll take you at your word.
But anyway, you're becoming a man and you're feeling real good about it.
Yeah. Not really, really good. It was just kind of a, oh yeah, that's
Or you're
there.
feeling about it at all anyway.
Yeah, I'm feeling about it. Just because, like, I don't know, I matured very, very, very quickly for my age. Like I just I don't know why, I just kind of had to, whether it be trauma or otherwise. So like I've been at kind of the same comprehension level. So I think I've deteriorated as I've gotten into an adult, and I was like, shit, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I just am an adult.
Yeah.
But like maturity wise, I'm the exact same as I was. So like I don't know. It was just kind of a moment of like, yeah, shit, I really am where I was, but like for real, like nobody can tell me otherwise. And
yeah, absolutely. It's an immutable fact now. Because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Where I feel like I was given this tremendous setback where like I know I got to be a kid plenty, don't get me wrong. It's not like I had to like grow the fuck up instantly. It's just I wasn't handed a playbook on how to be a kid because I was autistic, obviously. And so the better part of the first like 8 to 10 years of my life, arguably, like especially the first 8 to 10 years of my life estimated were as though I were an alien trying to figure out how human culture worked enough to like get by sustainably. And then I went through puberty after that, and it all like changed immediately what was cool and what wasn't cool. And so I had to like relearn a bunch of it. And like once I hit like 18, 19, I was finally at a spot where it's like, okay, learning's over. Now I can start living, you know? Like now I know enough that, like I've finished the tutorial, like both stages of it, and now like
I wasn't allowed to do that.
Onto adulthood, you know? I was able to like sort of stumble like a baby deer for a little while until I caught my footing, and that was great that I was presented that. And you like, it's not great that you weren't, but like I wanted to say that like you didn't really have that, and you definitely had it worse. But,
yeah.
You know, we both shook out all right, I think.
We're both in the we're about at the same rate. However,
like,
you are 24, so I win, motherfucker.
Like you do win significantly because like we are in the same place, and I'm only 23, dude. I'm not 24 yet. The number's starting to matter.
You said you were 23
to me.
for an entire fucking year. You said you were 23 for an entire year. You can't claim that like, oh, it matters now.
That's not because I was like I wanted to be older than I was. It was just I genuinely lost count for like half a year. Like I genuinely couldn't remember. Like on the spot, I just started saying 23 on the spot without ever double checking my math. But now the number starts to matter as I reach up toward 25. But
yeah,
you know, that's how you know you're really getting old. But yeah, no, I'm sorry to steal your thing out from under you a little bit, but I also had like a revelation about my own maturity.
What's something personal that happened in your life that I can steal? Come on, chop. What happened in your life?
I got a new Honda Civic. You want to steal that? You want that?
Did you?
No, I didn't. I just was trying to think of something physical that was like you could steal it from me.
I got a truck. There you go.
It's kind of the
topic
same thing.
stolen.
Sure, why not? Topic
all right,
stolen.
Anyway,
but what did you think about this year? Now that we're at the back end of it, we're in that like weird voidy home stretch between Christmas and New Year's. The year is all but done, unless something major happens in the next 4 days. Like I guess if like we both get diagnosed with super mega like terminal 7 cancer tomorrow, then like I think this will be a pretty bum year. But you know, as it stands, how are we feeling?
This year sucked ass. There was not a month that I was like, yep, this was a good month. And I realized that happened when I was talking to my psychiatrist, and this is in like August, and I was like, yeah, I've just been having a rough time lately. And she was like, you've been saying that for the last 4 times you've seen me this year. And I was like, fuck, you're right.
You told
me
about
so
that
right.
That was in March. That was like 3 months into the year.
Oh yeah, I was saying like I was having a rough month in March, and then it just kept happening. Kept happening. I only got reprieve in the last 2 months, and even then it was like reprieve, but also you're having a heart attack, and also like, you know, you have to deal with a bunch of other shit. But you know,
yeah, I think this year was stressful. I think I was very high strung for most of it due to that. I think I think I managed to maintain a positive disposition pretty often.
Yeah.
Like more often than not, and I'm fairly happy about that my optimism hasn't left me in a time of like great stress. You know? I said great stress. I don't think I had a single like more than like one thing or two all year that are like deeply personal items that really like stressed me as much as just it was like a million like just straw broke the camel's back situations, you know?
Yeah.
And so like where like a lot was happening, it was very hectic. It was very stressful. It started to pass really quick because of the stress, which is great. Which meant the stress was over a little bit sooner, it felt like. But yeah, it's been a good couple months at the end here. I don't know, it's really kind of made up for itself in its like especially in its December so far, at least for me. But I think
not so much for me, but you know, we're chilling.
I think stressful is the operative word for my 2024.
For this year, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's enough about the past.
That was this year.
Let's get on out of the
Welcome
past.
to the present.
You want to talk about anything in particular from the present? Talk a little bit about what's happening, what's happened this December, but
I bought a gun. That's what's happened recently. I bought a gun post-election mainly because I'm moving to Florida and I don't fuck with wild animals. And secondarily, it was the election. So
you told us about alligators, Jed. I think you mentioned it on the show. You told me at the very least that like bears are on your short list of animals you want to own a gun for, and gators are also on that list. Did you know? Here's an anecdote for you that I forgot about until just now. You know they did a study on whether it's more appropriate to run in a straight line or in a zigzag when being chased by an alligator, something to do with them not being able to comprehend running in a pattern like that and realize that they could just run straight after you and catch you faster, and that they would run in a zigzag too and get dizzy or whatever. Like, it's a really stupid science experiment. And what the scientists doing that found was that the hypothesis was wrong and there was no way to guess that there would be a correct... Like, there was no way to guess the correct solution, because the correct solution was, it doesn't matter how you run. They simply will refuse to chase you. They're too lazy.
Yeah.
They don't want to work
They're
that
lazy
hard.
motherfuckers.
These are creature design. These are like the filter feeders of like big game carnivores, because they just like kind of hang their mouth open and wait for like a fucking baby bunny or something to jump inside, or like a fish, and then just fucking hop. Like, they hunt, but not like that. They don't chase, really.
I don't know, man. I don't fuck with gators, man.
Chill guys. They're pretty chill guys, all considered. Like, they could be a little aggressive.
They are, but what if they choose to not be suddenly? I don't know.
Well,
I don't fuck with it.
You sound like a cop right now. Yeah, he's chill right now, but what if he makes any sudden movements?
Yeah, dude, that crocodile's gonna reach for its fucking wallet, and I'm gonna... Yeah, that motherfucker's gonna be gone.
I'm picturing like a crocodile pulling out like a snake leather wallet, like a reptile leather wallet, out of like the folds of its like stomach, and go, "There you go, officer." I don't know why like I said folds of your stomach, and I pictured a pretty like schlubby like slob alligator. They do get pretty fat in the middle. They do get pretty big around, and I think alligators are kind of funny guys anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I have my wisdom teeth out.
I don't know.
That's something that happened.
Yeah, you got your wisdom teeth out.
And I'm currently recovering from that and doing a goddamn good job of it, I think. Pretty quick procedure.
Still got holes in your head?
Pretty fast. I was stressed about it. They're very small. It's getting to the point where I'm not going to talk too much about this for anybody who gets skeezed out by teeth, because I get skeezed out by teeth just a little bit. Not too bad to talk about, but like I hate having work done in my mouth. So it's very stressful for me. But like I've got holes, but they're actively closing. Like, I'll reach over there with my like finger or with my tongue every now and again just to check in on how the heal is going, or to make sure. Usually it's after I've eaten anything, to make sure that I don't get like a piece of food stuck in there or something. Because you know, and the holes are smaller. They're like noticeably smaller every time I reach my tongue over there. Like, I'll probably go to sleep tonight and wake up without holes in my mouth tomorrow. So like it's so close. The odds of infection are insanely slim at this point. I've been taking my antibiotics like I should. I've been doing my saltwater rinses, probably not as many times a day as I should. I just do it after every meal. But like that seems to be working for me. And easy surgery, easy recovery. I got off pretty lucky with it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that was the present.
That's the present. That's what's going on for us. But looking to the future, what do you think?
Looking to the future
is your New Year's resolution? You got a New Year's resolution? You should get one in the next like 2 seconds if you don't.
You do yours and I'll get mine.
You need time to get one while you go get it.
I need time to gather.
I'll talk about mine. My New Year's resolution going into 2025 has been pretty set in stone. Or it's been pretty set what I want to achieve in 2025, but I've been working on my head on how to break it down into a simple sort of I want to be better in the next year, kind of resolution, that's digestible. And I think the best motto I can give going into next year as this is my resolution is I would like to be more productive. I would like to come out of 2025 having made more successful projects than I did this year. Successful in the measure of success being I completed them. They're finished and they're out and they're viewable. I'd like to get more things of that nature done. I've got a few things lined up that other people are managing that I just get to be a part of that I'm counting. I've got a few personal projects laid out. I just want to be more productive. That's my only issue right now is being able to manage my time effectively when I'm not actively doing something. When I'm in that limbo state where I've just taken a break for lunch and I come back and go, all right, the thing's done. What task 1 is done. What is task 2 for the day? And then I'll spend forever going, I don't really feel like working on that, or that doesn't need to be done today. I should probably save that for later, and then I finally settle in on something and then I'm like, yeah, but I could just do nothing. And then I never, I have such a hard time making that first, sort of leap on to, all right, I'm doing this. I've hit start on it. We're going. If I'm working on a thumbnail, I have trouble opening Photoshop. But once Photoshop is open, I'm go. I'm working on it. I'm locked in, or editing a video. Same with recording things. It's all the same to me, with that particular problem. And I want to solve that and be more productive. So I want to be more productive. And that's how I want to go about achieving that. I feel like a lot of people throw a New Year's resolution out there. I'm just I want to have better hair, or I want to make more money, or I want to fucking smile at more people. And it's just okay, but how can you put that into practice? You got a plan? You got thoughts?
Yeah.
You actually going to go to that gym membership you got? Probably not, statistically. But it's something that I have thought about tremendous amounts of time before I even thought about it as a New Year's resolution. So it's something I'm sure will be fixed. And the good thing about the show is that next year we can look back on these and see if we did fix them, or did improve in the ways we wanted to, if we're still doing this in a year. What's yours, Jed? What's your New Year's resolution? Did you find one?
I want to make more time for myself. I realized that a lot of times if somebody is like, hey, can you do this thing for me? I'll be like, yeah, I'm free on this day. I need to have set times and dates that are me days. I do whatever the fuck I want, and that nothing gets scheduled on those days. Because that's partially sometimes I did that for the first time in the past week, where after my character had left Willow, I was like, Vox, I want I'm gonna skip Monday. We're doing it on Friday. I need time to sleep where something isn't scheduled, and I need to do more of that. That's the plan. So that's my resolution.
Rest days are good. I genuinely recommend finding a day a week that you're not doing anything currently in your regular routine that you don't see yourself filling in anytime soon, and going aside from maybe a doctor's appointment, nothing on this day, nothing whatsoever. Yeah, it's just I wake up, I do a thing, I relax. I feel like that'd be good for you, because everybody needs a day off at some point, and I feel like 1 to 2 days off a week is about right for I don't know. I think the trouble with the modern adult world is that they teach you they teach you in school this routine they instill into you of yeah, you're gonna wake up early, you're gonna have a full day of success and forward progress from 9 a.m. to 3 to 5 p.m. and you're gonna go home and you're gonna end the day with a hearty meal and some rest, and then wake up tomorrow and do it again until the weekend, and then you've got a good Saturday, Sunday stretch of whatever else you need to do, and then it's back on Monday for another week of that, and that cycle. I think that cycle works amazingly. I considered getting some kind of job in education just to maintain that cycle, just because I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the most efficient, effective way to do that. Because if you put those 2 days off is just about the right number, maybe 1 depending on what you do. I think for what we do, 1 day off is fine, because who could call this work anyway, really?
Yeah, well, I'm not even talking about stream or anything. I'm just talking about in general.
Anything. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's just giving yourself a day of rest is good. it's
Yeah.
like a-okay. And I feel like, you know, they set you up with that, and then you go off to college and you get to set your own dates, which is, you know, fine.
Yeah.
You get to like make your own times for classes typically, like on some level, and you get to assemble your own schedule, and you can follow that schedule if you want. But a lot of kids come off of this, like what I would call almost perfect day-to-day routine in terms of like maximizing your productivity and your ability to do things. And then they go, I'm not waking up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm in college. I'm statistically between 17 and 19. And that like is an age where you need your sleep more than ever, and you sleep more than ever. And like, so like you really, really need to get your rest in that time, just because again, your frontal lobe is developing up there. You still need time, and you still need plenty of rest, and your body like runs a lot longer without worrying about the fact that it's running on steam. And there are a bunch of factors anyway.
Oh yeah.
But like that's the time when you need the most sleep, and your body craves sleep the most, and psychologically you will not have liked waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning for the past like 12-ish years. And so like the knee-jerk reaction is, I'm gonna put my shit all in the afternoon, all across the week. I'm just gonna take half days every day if that's an option, because everybody likes to take it easy when they get the opportunity. If I could live my life taking it easy, which is practically what I do, then I would. You know, I'm a pretty shining example of that. But like I feel like you break that sort of perfect routine they put you in, and then by the time you finish up college, you get into the workforce, which sometimes follows that 9 to 5 every day, every weekday, but doesn't typically have weekends off unless you like work at a place that's closed on Sunday, maybe. And it's really irregular of like, sometimes you'll have shifts on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, and sometimes all week, sometimes just Tuesday, you know, yada yada. And it just never really like that what I would call almost a perfect formula, especially for like the fully developed adult working mind, you know, to keep you in line, keep you functional. You know, I feel like we kind of abandoned that at a certain point.
It's gone.
It's a little sad.
It's gone forever.
It just leaves you. Yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, that's my thoughts on productivity and about how sad the state of the world is in terms of being productive.
Yeah.
But do you have any thoughts going into 2025?
Going into 2025?
What do you think the new year will bring for you?
I'm tired.
I'm tired? That's your thought?
That's my thought on going into 2025. So it's just like, I don't know. We're starting the year off with kind of like a Monday feeling about it for me. I'm just like, all right, back to it. Because should we talk about our plans for the next like 6 days?
So we had an idea for the show, right? So I've pretty much already cemented that these 5 days between Christmas and New Year are my big break. This is my vacation time. This is just my accumulated vacation time from making content throughout the year. And because I'm my own boss, I kind of get to just decide that.
Yeah, you get to just choose. Yeah.
And because I get to just decide that, which is fantastic, I've decided that these 5 to 6 days are mine until January 1st, until the clock strikes midnight on fucking New Year, or maybe a couple hours after, depending on how like plastered I am, night of New Year's, as is tradition. Like depending on that, like up until it's the first of the year, I'm good. And then on the first of the year, sorry, I'm out of water. I'm gonna fucking hit the ground running. I'm gonna absolutely blast through, because I'm still wired. I get wired just thinking about it, man. About how much shit is exciting and upcoming next year. And I think that I'm gonna build up that steam over the past few days, because when I don't make anything for a few days, I get this like, some people get it with rage, where they bottle it up inside them, and it like eventually it will explode and like ruin like a family. But you know, I get that with like creative expression, where if I don't do anything creative for like a week, and then I like start doing something creative again, it just genuinely explodes out of me into like some of the best shit I've ever created, like some of the most creatively dense material that I've done, you know. And so I'm hoping that this like sort of like tolerance break of making things will add to me being wired going into next year, because I hate to do that to you, because you said you were tired and I said I was wired, and it feels like I'm just being contrarian. But genuinely, no, I've been saying this since like November or September even, that like or October, that like I've got a big year ahead, and I'm really excited for it. And I think that come January 1st, I might have a little bit of that Monday feeling about me. I might actually kind of roll out of bed to get it started. But once I'm out of bed, I'm hitting the ground running. I'm gonna fucking fall straight out of bed onto my feet and maybe do a little somersault to my desk. I'm gonna be completely at it. I'm gonna be completely in that mode for the year. That's where I'm headed, and I'm gonna see how long, with appropriate breaks. I'm not gonna burn myself out.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna keep it up.
But I was told,
our idea
by Vox,
because of this rest period. I'll explain.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I got a little off topic there, but unless you want to explain, do you want to explain? Because I will give a little preamble that I think
this was.
Forget.
Yeah, go ahead then. Go ahead.
My preamble was that because these are rest days, and we're planning on drinking on New Year's, and we got high on Christmas, and I still have some edibles left, plenty actually. I jokingly suggested the idea that Jed is about to explain to you, and he kind of went for it. Explain the idea.
No, it was the reverse. So it was the reverse. Vox had told me about it, and I was like, let's get high for every single day. Let's try to maintain a high. And I said it jokingly, and then we moved on, and I was like, I don't even think I have enough edibles for it. And Vox was like, I mean, there's like 6 days left, and then the last one we're drinking, but I don't know, I could be interested in doing that. That could be fun. And then I was like, I don't think we can, because I'll count the edibles I have left. I have exactly 5 days worth of edibles. There are 6 days, and one of them we're already planning on drinking. So this is the worst idea we've ever had, and yet we're going to do it. Which is we're gonna get high every single night until the end of the year. We're kicking literally the last 7 days of 2024. Every night we're gonna not be sober. And this is, listen, Mom, if you're watching this in a few months, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if I didn't tell you about this. She's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna get a phone call,
and you're gonna go. She's gonna like call you and go, "That's where they went. That's how you got through that entire tin that fast." It's an idea that's under consideration. And that is because for Jed's mom and anybody concerned about us being like terrible, awful, dirty stoners, that is because we've been getting high every now and again just for shits. We've been getting high every now and again just for shits, and like this month's been a pretty busy, pretty hectic month for us, and so we're sort of getting there. And I'm getting to the point where getting high doesn't sound appealing to me, really. So there's no chance of addiction, really, where it's like on an average night, if nothing special's happening and we haven't really planned it, my sentiment toward taking edibles in the middle of the night and staying up and laughing at fucking Impractical Jokers or some shit for a few hours and then passing out harder than I could ever pass out sober. My thoughts on that are, I think I'd rather just like play a game or something or watch a movie.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just enjoy something sober, but like getting high has become like a sort of like a fixture of our lives for the past like month, because like in spats, because it's just like, okay, we want to get high twice this month. We've got this weekend, and then there are no other guaranteed days. So I guess we're getting high this weekend.
Yeah.
One day after the other, or it's been in a lot of like clumpings, and it's gotten me to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm just about done. So
yeah,
like we're doing this, and I think if we do this might be the thing that drives that completely out of my system. I think that might be the thing. I think that might be the thing that just like kills getting high for me for a while, of just like getting completely, like, for lack of a better way of putting it, burnt out on taking the good old edibles. I was gonna say schmonking, because like that's what I think about when I think about getting high.
We don't smoke.
We don't smoke. No, I
used to smoke cigarettes. That's that's something that happened this year. I started smoking cigarettes and I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Yeah,
and
you
that
quit
was the
smoking.
End of it.
You quit smoking this year.
Yeah.
That's a funny way to put that, because it implies you were smoking for more than a year when you smoked for like maybe a month.
I smoked for like 3 months.
It wasn't 3,
and then my heart doctor. It was 3, and then my heart doctor was like, "Dude, quit that shit. What the fuck,
bro? Quit it." But anyway,
quit it.
That's how we're looking going into 2025. I'm feeling stressed about this previous year, and then feeling wired about coming into the next year. And Jed, you said you agree with my stress for 2024, right?
Yeah.
We're both stressed.
Definitely.
stressed as like a descriptor for our 2024s. And going into next year, we've hit opposite sides of the coin with that stress, where I'm like, next year must be better. We're going to make it better. It's going to be great. And then Jed is like, next year needs to be a fucking break.
Yeah. I need to be
next
done.
Year I need a fucking
I need
break.
to take a moment. Yeah.
But speaking of needing breaks and things being over, like the new year, I think that's about the end of our show, everybody. It's over.
All right.
Go home.
Well, there's an obvious bit for the end of this one.
Do the outro. Is there an obvious bit? Do you want to do our outro?
Of course, there's an obvious
bit.
No, you do. Your outro today, dude.
Oh,
your
is
outro.
It my outro
Go.
today? It is my outro.
Yeah.
Today. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll hand it back to you when I get done with the outro, and then I clearly am not getting what this obvious bit is, but
it's obvious. It's the bit that everybody does on New Year's.
I'll try to play along. All right. I don't know what we're
doing
here, but yeah, you can catch up with us on Card at card.co/fightabout it. Is it just /fight about it, or is it /fight about it pod or whatever?
It's like fight about it. It's just /fight about it.
It's just /fight about it. Great. It'll be linked in the description of wherever you're watching this episode. Either way. Speaking of where you can watch these episodes, if you're watching on YouTube, you can also catch us on Spotify. Did you know we had a Spotify where you could listen to the show on the go in places like in the car or like on a train, and it makes it a little bit easier to do and a little less bandwidthy.
Yeah.
Or if you prefer to watch in other settings or prefer this platform, you could watch on YouTube, where we upload as a premiering video, which means you're able to watch it live as it comes out in a little watch party format, where there's a little like Twitch chat-esque live chat thing going on, where you can talk about the show and things that are happening in it sort of back at us, or talk to other fans of the show who are also in the chat. That's you can find our socials also on that card page. You can find all the things I mentioned on that card page, actually, including the two of us. And all right, fine, hit your bit.
We'll see everybody, all of the viewers, next year. You didn't get that?
God,
you didn't get it?
So crunched for just that. You got so crunched for that. Your microphone went, well, see you all next year. Yeah, we'll see you next year, everybody.